What's happening, Big Brown Breakdown listeners? We got one hell of a show to break down. After UFC 210, we got the big Fox card this Saturday. Lots of stuff to talk about. UFC 210, I would call, UFC 210, the gong show, just the shit show. UFC 210, New York, Buffalo, circus. It was just did you watch it live, Jim?
I did.
See, I had to watch it. We're in, let me think. We're in D.C. We just got done with the show. And so someone had it on their phone. I think they're streaming. I think you can stream on your phone from Fight Pass. It was pretty legit. It wasn't illegal. You know, if you watch on that bullshit illegal stuff, whatever it is, MMA Wire, I don't know what they are. I always try to pay for them. It's very rare I'd ever illegally stream it. It takes away
very rare.
It's very, very rare. Unless I'm in a dire situation where it's just not happening. Then you got to do what you got to do because I can't miss the fight. It's kind of my gig now, you know? So it's very rare, though, because you don't want to take money away from the fighter's pockets, especially the pay-per-view percentage, you know? You know, if you're dealing with the Scrooge McDuck in the UFC, then I would do it, but I don't want to take away from the fighters. Kind of like downloading illegal music. You're screwing over the artist, not the label.
I buy all my music, but dude, I can't say that, but a lot of people I know, they have not bought a song in freaking years.
Just
Seriously.
illegally download it?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it's pretty cheap to get these days, man. There's no need for that. But anyway, so we were watching this bar and some random dude's phone. It was pretty clear. But, you know, I saw some of the stuff. I missed some stuff. You know, I knew the results, and then I saw online stuff that happened. So I finally I've watched it twice now at home. I watched it right when Sunday night, and I watched it again this morning. And I mean, overall, the fights were good, but everything's overshadowed. You know, like I feel bad for a lot of the guys involved with this, and you know, I was quick to blame New York that they've made mistakes before with the Holly Holm fight versus Durandamine and stuff like that. But this really isn't on them. This is more on Tan Dan, as I like to call him, Big Tan Dan Murgliata. It comes down to him. But remember, before all this got started, we had an issue with Daniel Cormier's weigh-in, so that kind of overshadowed it. And I just feel bad for DC. It's like he can't get anything right. And he's this phenomenal champ. He's, the best in the world, not named John Jones. But John doesn't count. John's out. He just doesn't count right now. When he comes back and he's active, great. Then we'll take it into consideration. But right now, in the light heavyweight division, DC is the very, very best in the world. But he's getting booed. I love that he's taking the heel role now because him, trying to win votes and, trying to play to the crowd and stuff, it's just not working. And I don't get it. I wonder if it's because he just looks like your average guy and he doesn't look like a superhero that you want your world champion to look like. Is it because he's the best 205er in the world, not named John Jones, and he's on TV all the time? Like he's doing both and then he's doing pay-per-views? Is he just too in people's face all the time, I don't know. Is it too much, DC? Like I love strawberry ice cream, but if you give it to me twice a week, every week, it's gonna get real old real fast. I can't figure it out. But then, so he has the weigh-in mishap, which I don't think it's that big of a deal. So many people cry, but they're looking for any reason to tear down DC. So you have that, and that falls on the New York Commission there. That's on New York Commission because everyone saw it. No one said shit. And then Rumble weighs in and he's the exact same lighter weight. What it was, 1.5 pounds or something like that.
1.2.
Yeah.
It's weird. Super weird.
It's super weird. Super shady. They're just trying to get the fight going. That's fine. That's whatever. But just overshadows DC and his great career. So then you go into the fight and just, looking at that fight really several times now, I know this is probably a rare take. I wasn't that impressed with DC or Rumble. I thought it's the worst shape we've ever seen DC in. I thought we've never really seen him to have love handles like that. He was pulling his shorts up over his gut. I thought, his striking didn't look great at all. His movement wasn't great. if Anthony Johnson didn't shit the bed and go into panic mode and start wrestling, and I don't know what that was, I don't know if DC beats him. If Anthony Johnson shows up, that beat Manawa, that beat Glover, that beat Alexander Gustafsson, he smokes DC in that fight. But DC caught Anthony Johnson on a night where he just wanted out. And name a fighter, anytime they go, I'm going to retire, they show up that last fight. You're talking about it's just different. Do you look at Randy Couture's last fight with Lyoto Machida, where he's like, this is my last one. Kadoosh, cool, tooth is out. You look at all these guys, which is their last fight, it never really ends well for them because they're already 1 foot out the door. And we didn't know that going into the fight, but when you see Anthony Johnson's game plan, and then his corner, Henry Hooft, is going, that we didn't work on that at all. We were supposed to maintain distance and blast shots. If he would have done that, I think he beats DC that night. I do not think that's DC's best performance. I thought it was more of a fact of Anthony Johnson just not showing up and wanting to get out of there as fast as possible. Think about, and it's hard for the public or even coaches to understand unless they fought. When you're in there, man, sometimes for whatever reason you think about something. Maybe it scared you. Maybe there's something in the back of your mind like, God, this is my last fight. I don't want to get knocked out, or I don't want to get this, or I don't want to get thrown on my head. So then that's all you can think about. So then he has a wrestling background, but not like DC. It was a terrible game plan, terrible game plan. And it fell right into DC's, wagon there. But DC didn't look great. I didn't think DC looked great. The one time they separate, Anthony Johnson landed a head kick, broke his nose. He eventually got it down, but Johnson wanted out, man. He was looking for any way to get out. He's throwing with, like just caution to the wind, trying to get him out of there. That's a sense of panic. He didn't look like a professional in there, I didn't think. He wasn't calm, collected, trying to land this one knockout shot. Look at the angles. Look at the punches he's throwing, and just kind of like, oh my. He looked panicked. We haven't seen him like that. He looked super panicked. Shitty shots. Crazy, throwing this kick. What? I was like, what is this? And DC looked out of shape. And then afterwards, Anthony Johnson decides to retire, which is fine. That takes more guts than actually facing DC, to be honest with you, especially a guy who's 32 years old. I was nowhere near the fight Anthony Johnson was. He's probably a Hall of Famer, probably, with the most knockouts, and being a knockout artist and things that he's done and his long tenure and stuff like that, and who he's beat, Glover, Alexander, the list goes on and on. He's beat the who's who, not named DC. And or John Jones, which is a shame. But I think that's an easy fight for John Jones, to be honest with you. So him retiring, it takes a lot of balls, especially at 32. He is in his prime, especially for a heavier guy, that light heavyweight and heavyweight. That's in your prime, 32 to 36, I'd say, is a prime for a bigger guy from light heavyweight to heavyweight. Other weight classes, not at all. So it takes a lot of balls to walk away. But if you know one thing about Anthony Johnson, he's never enjoyed the grind of being a fighter, the demands of being a fighter, and training all the time, and the commitment it takes, and dieting. There's the reason why he was missing so many weigh-ins and stuff like that. That shows a lack of respect for your job and stuff like that. But he's never been a diehard guy, like a TJ Dillashaw or, you name any of these other champs, like a Mighty Mouse or something like that. And it shows, when if he didn't land that big shot, it was kind of over. And he landed that big shot against tough guys. Glover, he landed that big shot. Gustafsson, he landed that big shot. If he doesn't land that big shot, it's over for him because those guys are going to grind him out. So I wasn't that surprised that he retired. I was, and for those of you who think he's going to go on and play football for the LA Rams, you don't know shit about sports. It doesn't work like that. He's a good athlete in the UFC. It'd be tough for him to make the high school team at Long Beach Poly here and playing football. That's the difference in athletes in the UFC and football. He's a stiff dude. To quote Joe Rogan, you look stiff. He's very stiff, very explosive. Maybe he's gonna. I don't know. Everyone says. I saw Henry Hooft did an interview that has something to do with football. maybe a talent relations job, something like that. He's not working the front office. You know, you're talking about X's and O's and stuff like that. I have no idea what he's doing. You know, I made the joke that he's going to be the mascot.
I was just thinking about that.
Obviously just messing around. I don't know, though, man. He's also not a guy who's set. You got to remember that. He's not a guy who's set for life. He's never made a 7-figure payday. He has not made a 7-figure payday. I would highly doubt he has, unless they give him some undiscretionary bonus. So he's not set either. So when he goes out, I'm already pursuing something else. Well, going into a championship fight like that, when you say that, you've lost already. And it showed with his demeanor, his game plan. He wanted out. It was a bit of an easy night for DC, who did not look great. And I love DC, and I called him win second round TKO submission. I said she can go pretty much like it did in the first fight, if you remember. Remember, we made that bet. So, but I didn't see it going like this. I didn't see Anthony Johnson kind of shit in the bed. The big takeaway here is look at the light heavyweight division now.
Yeah, it's all messed up now, right?
Go ahead and bring that light heavyweight up. The rankings for UFC.com. You got DC. You got John Jones, who comes back in July. You got Gustafsson. You got Glover. I mean, there's not a lot going on, man. So you got DC. Anthony Johnson's out. So you got Alexander Gustafsson, who him and DC had that great fight. You got Glover. Jimmy Manoa's 4. You got Shogun 5. Volkan, the Russian dude, at 6. You got Corey Anderson 7. OSP 8. Russian Latifi 10. Little Nog 11. Fuck you. I mean, these are. It's just, in light heavyweight and heavyweight, it's just kind of, it's tough a pickings. Middleweight downs, it's the best it's ever been. Women's strawweight's coming up, bantamweight's coming up. All the other weight classes are, they're stacked. But light heavyweight, they're in a little bit of trouble. And for John Jones, if Anthony Johnson won, it'd be a great story, right? Him, John Jones, they've never fought. You can sell that. I guess I want to see DC John Jones. Kind of already saw it. And I think if DC from Saturday night shows up against even a John Jones with 2 years off, where the hell it's been, he gets smoked by John Jones. Smoked. After seeing that, I don't know if I've always said John needs a warm-up fight. I don't know after seeing that. John eats him alive. It does not go to decision this time if he shows up in that same condition. He looked out of shape, man. That spare tire is,
I mean, why?
Embrace the buffet. That's what that was.
He's never looked that bad, right?
I've never seen him look that bad.
So what do you
the
think
first
that
thing
is?
I noticed. Just he's too busy. He's too busy. He's traveling, and I know he goes, oh, when I'm on the road, I'm working out. It's not the same, man. You're getting out of your routine, stuff like that. I'm on the road all the time. There's no way. There's no way it's the same. I don't care if you bring your coaches or not. The diet's not the same. He didn't look as good, man. There's nothing wrong with that. Maybe he'll learn from there. But he's lucky the real AJ didn't show up, and he's out. For John Jones, okay. I really hope the UFC doesn't do DC Jimmy Manoa. Get that shit out of my face. Jimmy Manoa is a poor man's. If Anthony Johnson is a Ferrari, Jimmy Manoa is an English Civic hatchback. He is and I like watching him fight. That guy has so many holes in his game. It's like Swiss cheese. Listen, I love watching him fight. He has good knockout power. Do you ever see him versus Anthony Johnson fight? He gets smoked. You ever seen him versus Alexander Gustafsson fight? Smoked. Now, who's the best guy he's beat? Corey Anderson in his hometown? Get the fuck out of my face with that. You cannot honey dick the fans and give them DC versus Jimmy Manoa. That's not a fight, man. I would take DC blindfolded over Jimmy Manoa. He could just close the distance, take him down. When I say you think Anthony Johnson has no ground game, get Jimmy Manoa to the ground. Do not sell us that fucking fight for a world championship fight. Do not do that. If anything, if you don't want to make John Jones a headliner, you're going to have to do John Jones versus Jimmy Manoa. John will eat his ass up real quick, and then you can do DC John Jones. I'm telling you, man, do not give me Jimmy Manoa at DC. That is not a fight. That is not a competitive fight. That is a bullshit fight. But if you're in a power position in the front office with the UFC, there's not much to do there.
There's nothing, right? It's only Gustafson and John Jones.
You have Gustafson and Glover fighting. I can see the winner of that fighting DC, and then give Jimmy Manoa and John Jones. Glover DC is a fun fight. Alexander Gustafson I'd watch again because that's such a close fight. Other than that, though, that it is the heavyweight's doing better than that. Well, let's not get crazy. Neither one's doing great, but yeah. And I thought DC playing the heel and, calling John Jones out and calling Manoa out, it's a good play. But that he was like, he looked at Manoa and was like, you do not want to, let's be real. He goes, all respect Corey Anderson, but you just beat Corey Anderson. Sit down, son. I thought DC played it great on the mic. That was the best part of the night. He played it great. But he gets booed and stuff like that. I don't know what's going to take, but there's just always this cloud over DC. He's a great guy, phenomenal champ. Probably one of the most talented guys we've ever seen inside the octagon. He's beat everyone not named John Jones, and he just cannot catch a break. Towelgate, John Jones being a knucklehead. So he's a paper champ. They say it's not his fault. He has nothing to do with this. It's just a real bummer. That's the first thing I thought, man. And then for John Jones. If I'm John Jones and I'm his management, I go, this is what we're gonna do. You're going to fight Jimmy Manoa, smoke him. You're going to fight DC. You're going to beat him. Then we get out of light heavyweight and you go to heavyweight. Name a guy who beats him at heavyweight and go. You know what he would do to Francis Gano?
That's the only person I was looking at.
He would take him down like that. And we'd see his French wrestling off his back.
Has he fought Verdum? He never fought Verdum, right?
Francis?
No, DC.
No.
I'm guessing no. That'd be cool.
But I'm not even talking about DC. DC needs to stay at light heavyweight.
Oh, I thought you were talking about DC.
No, I'm talking about John Jones.
Oh, okay.
If I'm John Jones, I go Jimmy Manoa, warm up fight, get the ring rest off. DC, get my belt. Then I go to heavyweight. Start making real money. Be the face of a heavyweight division. I don't see a bad matchup in the top 10 for him. Now, I'm assuming he has his shit together. He's not hitting pregnant women in cars or doing coke or taking dick pills left and right, and he's going to show up for the fights. But that would be my plan for him. It's not a bad plan. So let's move on to the kind of the big headline of the night would be Chris Weidman. Chris Weidman ranked number 4 versus Gegard Mousasi number 5. It was such an important fight. It was such an important fight for both these guys because Mousasi on the last fight of his contract, he's been dying for more money, says he wants the respect he deserves. Then you got Weidman, who's coming off his only 2 losses, and we don't know if he still has it, and he's coming back from a loss, kind of revamp some things in his camp, started working with Mark Henry. And I could tell in that first round his footwork was very a la Mark Henry. I was like, damn, look at him. This is going to work out great. And then it kind of went out the window. But, I called Weidman winning that fight. When you look at the fight, I'd love to get your thoughts on this, Jen. When you look at the fight, Weidman was winning every second of that fight, but maybe you could give a minute to Mousasi when he did the flurry in the second round. And then those knees, in the second round, which caused the controversy, which you got to blame Tan Dan on that, Murgliata. Those knees, and it really didn't wobble Weidman. I didn't think he would have got finished after that. I don't get the debate here. I'm trying to figure it out, and I've listened to all these other guys, speak on it and talk about, most likely Mousasi would have finished him off. In what fucking world? What world are you living in? Weidman was winning that first round was a complete domination round. How many times did he take him down? The striking, he landed, he wobbled. If anyone got wobbled, and we know for a fact got wobbled, would be Mousasi in that first round. When Chris landed that right hand, they took him down over and over, constantly down over and over. Then we go in the second round. Mousasi's like, shit, I'm down on the cards. He comes out firing. Didn't land any crazy shots, but he flurry. So I'll give him those 30 seconds that he was winning that flurry. After that, Weidman's win the round. Then they go into that, the turtle north-south position. And he throws those knees. And take out whether you think they're illegal or not legal after seeing the replay. They were legal knees. This is the only thing that should matter in this argument if you're listening to this. And I don't give a fuck who else you listen to, what other breakdown you've listened to, what other analyst, expert, whoever, if they work for the UFC, throw that out the window because they're all sucking off the tit. The thing that you have to focus on, and they have to take responsibility for this, is the referee. Dan Murgliata, I don't care if he's completely high on acid. If he says those are illegal knees, those are illegal knees. That's the only argument. There's no other argument. He stopped the fight because from his view, which is the only view that matters, because there's no replay in New York, those are illegal knees. So if anything, they separate them, you give Chris 5 minutes, which he said he would do, because he thought they were illegal knees. Whether he's right or not, it doesn't matter. Replay isn't to your advantage. Rogan or whoever going, those are legal, those are legal. Him changing his mind. What the fuck? This ain't the Wild West. You made the call, man. You can't do that. There's no replay in New York. It doesn't work like that. So if anything, you stop the fight, right? He has 5 minutes. He wasn't wobbled. Dan Murgliata, who has no business doing this, has no right doing this. He's not sanctioned to do this. It's not his responsibility at all. Look up the rules. Goes, what's the date? Now let me ask you something. Name the most stressful moment of your life. If someone comes up and goes, hey, what's the month and the date? You ask me right now, I couldn't fucking tell you. Let alone when you're inside an octagon fighting one of the best fighters in the world. They're going to ask you a detailed question like that. They're going to say, oh, he's concussed, he can't move on. Let's just go through that real quick. A, it's not your fucking decision, Dan. You've been in this game for how long? 20 years? That's not your decision or responsibility. B, you tell me the fucking date. When all this hectic shit's going on, you tell me the date, man, and let me know how clear it comes out. Then you assume he's concussed from that? That's insane. And when people go, oh, Chris Weidman was playing it up. He sure as fuck wasn't playing it up. He was getting his rest. I'm sure he was a little tired. I didn't see this playing it up, man. Everyone keeps saying that. I do not see that. I see a guy whose back is against the wall, his UFC career's on the line, who's dominating a fight into that little flurry, which really didn't land. Then he's down on all fours. And then the ref, who's the only one that counts in this whole equation here, stops and calls illegal knees. It's insane to me, man. And who's being held accountable for this? Who do they have to answer to? I heard Danny go, well, I wish you didn't stay down that long, and, you can't leave it to the judges. You're fighting against the judges. Whoa, what are we talking about? Who's the only two affected by this? Chris Weidman and Mousasi. To change the decision, which you called it in the heat of the moment, which is very tough to tell, and we'll get to that rule after this, to change that to they're legal, who knows what would have happened, you lost. We're making up rules now on the fly? Now, there's something called pooling where I don't think they do in New York, but you can go to a guy like Herb Dean who's on the sidelines and go, you had a different view. What'd you see? And if Herb goes, they could call it pooling. You can do this. You have a veteran referee who's outside the octagon. Maybe it's Big John McCarthy, who I think should be the guy doing it if you're going to have one guy at every event. How they didn't think of this before is crazy. But if you have Big John McCarthy at every event, that he's not reffing, that fight, or you have Herb Dean not ref, you can switch them out. Yeah. But those would be my two go-tos. They have different angles and views than the ref inside the octagon. If you go to him and he goes, those guys, it's a close call, but those were legal. All right, cool. Back together. You don't say, oh, you win because he was kind of wobbled. I stopped it. He was. What's your definition of wobbled? Because in the heat of the moment, you asked him the day and time? That's insane. That's fucking insane. So any other argument when you go, well, he was kind of wobbled, he was this, none of your opinions count. Mousasi's corner doesn't count. Dana's opinion doesn't count. The commission doesn't count. None of these people count. Dan Murgliata, whose job is to call the fights, stop it, anything illegal, legal, he makes the decision. You have to stick by that decision. Imagine the NFL, that catch. Remember that catch in the Green Bay Packers game everyone was up in arms about? The Dallas Cowboys. Des Bryant caught the ball. He's like, not a catch. and then comes back, goes, actually is. What the fuck are we talking about? Your job is to make these calls, and you're gonna make mistakes. But what you can't do is screw over the fighters. You screwed them both over. No one won here. But in some weird world, because you stopped it, because you thought they were illegal, and they turned out to be legal, because you referenced the instant replay and whoever else, you succumbed to the peer pressure. And I like Dan. But as a job, he has to be held accountable for it. If anything, it should be a no contest. How in the world do you award TKO victory for Mousasi? In what world? Because he was winning the fight? He won 45 seconds. I'll give you a minute of the entire fight. If you stop the fight there and just base it off performance from that point, who would you give the fight to?
Me, Weidman, yeah, but
it's not even a debate. Weidman was winning that fight, so you go with those knees, and you assume the guy's wobbled because you ask him the date inside the octagon.
So what happens to that? If something comes down like that, where he's obviously confused about the situation. And by the way, I don't even give Murgulata too much crap, because I remember I had to watch three different replays to see, if his hands were touching the ground or not.
That doesn't matter, Chin.
I know, but aside from that, if he does make that mistake of trying to call a fight, is there anyone above him that says, no, you can't even do that?
He has that power to say, that's an illegal knee, let's stop.
But he didn't do that.
He did do that.
No, well,
he did do that, and then went back and went, oh, they're actually legal, Chris. They're actually legal. Let's get the doctor in there. He's concussed because I asked him the date and he doesn't know. That's not even your job. That's the doctor's job. It's insane. It's crazy.
In an appeal, then, he has to be held accountable, right? I mean, he has to not be able to call that fight.
Hopefully. I mean, for Chris, I know Chris Weidman's team's they're actually talking about suing certain people, which is the right move. This magnitude of a fight and this point in your career, that makes sense. The other thing that needs to happen is we're in this gray area, which is where this all stems from. And we've seen it, with the Dirty Bird and stuff like that when he got shipped for throwing that knee and had to reschedule that fight against that Cowboy. Oliveira. There's a gray area right now where it's very confusing when you're in the heat of the moment. I don't think Mousasi's a dirty fighter. He's had some previous questionable moves, like up kicking in the King Mo fight, Lyoto Machida fight. There's certain, but it's just the heat of the moment. I don't blame him. I blame the rules. He's not a dirty fighter. When you're in the heat of that battle and there's that gray area, well, if he has one hand down, if there's pressure on the palm, if it's two hands down, if it's 3 point, what the fuck are we talking about? It's too confusing. It needs to be black and white. It needs to either be white, where it's if any part of the hand is touching, you cannot strike a down opponent. You just cannot. It doesn't matter if it's thumb, pinky, both hands, one hand. It just has to be very, very clear. If any point of the hands are touching, so he's in the down position, whether it's one hand, two hands, I don't give a fuck. 3-point of contact, 4-point of contact, that's it. You cannot strike the down opponent. Cool, we adjust to that. Or it's free for all. You allow knees to the head at any given point to a down opponent. It has to be black and white. It can't be gray, because now you have this shit. Imagine if it was black and white. We wouldn't even be here. There'd be a clear-cut winner. Either those knees did fuck up Chris Weidman, and Weidman didn't recover and then got pounded out by Mousasi. Cool, we have no issue. Or they didn't do anything, but either way, we're not stopping the fight. It has to be black and white. We live in this gray world right now when it comes to a lot of this MMA rules. It's insane. It cost Mousasi a huge fight, and it cost Weidman a huge fight. I don't see the argument, though, saying, it's kind of right, though, because if I had to bet, Mousasi's going to finish him off. What? The fuck you talking about? Based off what? Because you didn't know the date? Next time you're balls deep, and this even remotely comparable, next time you're balls deep in work, have someone come up and ask you a question. You better answer like this, or you lose the job. Think of that. It's crazy. You know what? Most doctors don't ask you what date it is. They won't ask you the specific date. They'll say, what day is it? And you go, it's fucking Saturday. What month is it? It's April. They won't go, what's the month and the date? God damn. I'm all jacked up on freaking bulletproof latte with 4 shots and Alpha Brain. I couldn't tell you the fucking date. I'm in the air-conditioned studio, got Gucci shoes on. I don't give a fuck. I have no idea. So, and usually doctor goes, what's the day today? It's Saturday. Cool. That's a cognitive response. What month is it? Pretty general. That's a cognitive response. Or they say, how many fingers am I holding up? Obviously, it's something to do with the eyes or something like that, but they even do that outside that. Not what's the date, time, what year were you born, what's your mom's fucking sign, what's your girlfriend's sign, are you a Cancer, Taurus? God damn, we're all concussed then. Also, he's took some fucking shots. You know, I tweeted this out, Matt Sarah and Ray long ago. What the day and time? He never fucking knows that. That doesn't mean he's concussed. It's true. Most guys, I mean, when you're going through it, what are you talking about? It doesn't mean he was going to get finished off. You royally fuck these guys, and no one's held accountable. And the circus just moves on. UFC doesn't suffer. Their pay-per-views are good. Reebok kits are going to be Reebok kits. They're not selling anyway, so you just keep going. Dana keeps going. Who's affected by this? Mousasi, now he's in negotiations with the UFC. He's going to say, I beat this guy, and I beat Weidman. They go, not really. Well, no, I did. Look at the record. Not really, man. It's kind of bullshit. Then Weidman's going to go, well, dude, I know I'm on 2, but I deserve this. You lost to Mousasi. That wasn't a loss. Look at the record, but they're going to play both sides now. Fucks both guys. The only thing to do is you got to change that to a no contest. You cannot award anyone the winner there. And even Mousasi was with his corner. He did the right. Mousasi's such a class act. He's like, no, don't celebrate. Do not celebrate. This isn't. He's right, man. So Mousasi's just trying to get paid and get to a title shot. You can't just move on from this. You can't just go, Mousasi won. Moving on. That's 3 losses in a row for Weidman. That's how many 5 wins in a row for Mousasi. Moving on. No. That's what the end of the Sopranos did. They fucked us. We need something here to complete this. I need to see what happens when these two don't get screwed by a ref who stops it because it's illegal knees and then succumbs to pure pressure, changes the rules, and fucks both guys over. I need to see this fight play out. So re-sign Gegard and Mousasi. You're probably not going to get Mark Hunt money, but pay him good money, what he deserves. And then you immediately make this fight happen. It's always going to be an asterisk if not. What else are you going to do?
I'm pretty sure Mousasi, right after the fight, he was so bummed about what happened. He's like, no, I'll rematch him. I'll do a rematch.
I know, but then the press conference, he went, what the fuck you want me to do? You say I'm not marketable? You want me to dye my hair blonde? He goes, I'll give him a rematch, but I'm trying to get to the title shot. He goes, I won the fight. I'm like, fuck. I guess that's the route to go. No one thinks you won that fight unless they're from, where's he from? Morocco or some shit? The Netherlands?
Somewhere in the Netherlands.
Yeah, unless you're from there, let's get real. Doesn't count. There's an asterisk next to that fight.
You were pretty passionate about this one.
I'm just pissed off, man, because it screws basically Weidman over. It screws him and his team over. And for anyone to go, hey, man, he kind of babied it. He wanted out. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You're talking about Chris Weidman, a world champion. They do not look for easy outs. Anthony Johnson was never a world champion. He's always had that quit in him. If you want to say that with him, you have an argument. Give me any sort of evidence Chris Weidman has ever bitched out like that. Never. Ever. Ever. It doesn't work in this case. It's crazy, man. It's such bullshit. It's just unfair. And I hate when this happens to guys. Especially a guy like Chris Weidman where his back's against the wall, 2 fights. I know how the negotiations are going to go. It's such a fucking cop-out. And no one's held responsible for it. Everyone else keeps moving, but Chris. And for what? Because Dan fucking thought it was illegal. Turned out it wasn't. Looked at replay, even though there's no replay in New York. Then someone told him they were legal. So then the ref comes in. It was just a complete shit show. And it's not on New York this time. The weigh-ins on New York. New York's going to do New York shenanigans. That's fine. But they weren't part of this outcome. Now, what they are going to be held accountable for is overturning this, the New York Commission. It's so rare things get overturned.
That's the thing. They never do, right? But this
one... At least New York's newer, so maybe they're not stuck in their old ways like a Vegas, something like that, and you can make a change. And if you come with some firepower, and you got a great case here if you're Weidman. And Weidman's from New York. I mean, what do we got to do? Grease little palms. Hey, it's like, what do you got to do? You can't move on, though. You simply cannot move on.
Yeah.
That's my take on that.
That's the only thing I can think of, this one being one where you can actually appeal and win. Just because he wasted everyone's time to go to the replay. You can blame the ref. Yeah.
You can blame the ref. Like, what are you talking about? Inside the octagon, he said this. Then he changed it. That's against the rules. Then he went to replay. That's against the rules. Then he gave me 5 minutes. Then he asked me a question that he has no business asking. It's not in his responsibilities as a referee. Then he brings in the doctor.
I didn't hear exactly who. So he actually asked that question?
Yeah. Dan did.
Man. Yeah, I'm sure the moment got to him big time there.
Dan did, and I think the doctor did shortly after that. I think they both did. Again, you're in the midst of pure chaos inside the octagon. Try remembering anything. You have to make it easy.
No, it's the high-pressure moments. Even when Brian was talking about people can't dial 911 in an emergency because it's a high-pressure moment.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
No, that happened to people.
I know, which is completely ridiculous.
But, I mean, you get, like...
No, I see what you're saying.
High-pressure moments, you forget the simplest things.
A lot of people in when the building's on fire, the house on fire, they find that they panic so much, instead of pushing the door, they were pulling the door. If they just pushed, they would have got out. But they panic under pressure, so they find like these finger marks on the door. And don't be that moron.
Dear God.
Don't be that goddamn moron. Go ahead and push or pull. Let's cover all our bases here so you don't burn to death. That's so extreme in this situation. But you get the fucking idea. Yeah, man, this one upsets me.
It does.
And I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Let's jump into some MMA current events, dog.
All right. I think these kind of touch on some of those, but let's see if we can navigate through these. So this one in particular, Chris Weidman. We just talked about this.
He thought it was February.
So
it just changed. Well, it just changed to April. I mean, there's again. Did you ask him this before he was kneed in the face?
I mean, we've gone over this.
Who said? Who did he say this to?
That's the thing. So
scroll down. Does it say who he said it to? Weidman was unable to tell the physicians the date. Then Matt Serra yells because he didn't know what day it is. He might not know what day it is.
But check it out. Listen to this.
I told you that motherfucker's a dirty cocksucker.
I watched the replay. It was legal.
It wasn't legal?
Yeah, it wasn't. No way it's legal.
So it sounds like it's Dan Mergliotta telling Matt Serra that Chris Weidman told the doctor it was February and he didn't know what day it was. So it's hard to tell who the hell in the beginning he was saying he was talking about or asking the date.
Either way, the thing is let's say worst case scenario, he was a little concussed. We've seen him get concussed before. Like, this is fighting, man. You tell me DC wasn't concussed when he had his nose caved in? If you would have asked him the date and time there, he might have been a little different. Might have took him a little while to catch up to it. That's fighting, man. I've been in fights where I got hit, I still won. The Crocop, my shit, if you would ask me, what color I was, it'd take a little while for me to give you an answer. Ended up winning the fight. So you dictate that because he's a little concussed, because he's in the middle of a fucking fist fight, that he's losing? That's crazy. It's not the way our sport works, man. Now, if he had his eye was beat up, flesh hanging off, he's getting his ass whipped the whole time, I get the argument. You can't do that to a guy dominating the fight.
Well, hopefully the appeal will work.
I know. I wonder what's going to go on with that. What else you got, brother?
All right, next one is Something that you were talking about last week too. Dana White was saying that the reason that Mousasi doesn't get paid as much as he should is because he's not making the same numbers, the same viewership as the ones that he's complaining about, like Mark Hunt.
Yeah, he called out some legends, even though, obviously, he's beat a lot of these legends, but he's won 5 straight. So what's Dana say here? So, and no tickets have lost their lives in recent years. Dan Henderson has been in the game forever. Mark Hunt has an entire country behind him. White said, when we do fights in Australia, he sells out arenas. Gegard Mousasi isn't selling out arenas. Maybe needs a bigger mouth.
He's starting to have a bigger mouth now.
That's why I see guys like Bisping, different fighters from Brazil, Conor McGregor. When you have guys who have country behind them, it's a game changer for them. Not everybody has that luxury. Well, Mousasi's from the Netherlands, right?
That's the thing. I think the Netherlands, but I think his background is something else.
He's Moroccan, but he's from the Netherlands, I think. But have you ever done a UFC out there and had him main event? You can't say he doesn't have a country behind him. He's been fighting forever. He's one of the best fighters of all time. I mean, yeah, maybe he's not a huge draw here or there, but there's a debate there where if you go to his hometown, I imagine he sells pretty well. Have they ever tried that? The shitty thing here is, all the chips are in Dana's corner, but 5 straight wins. You look at the guy who he's beat. Obviously there's an asterisk next to Chris Weidman, but you gotta pay. You have to increase his pay. You have to, man. So he's Armenian.
Yeah, so that's why he's Armenian, but he lives in the Netherlands. And then they're not going to have a UFC there, Armenia.
I mean, obviously he's not a draw like a Mark Hunt or a Dan Henderson, stuff like that, for whatever reason. Dan Henderson wasn't a talker. Randy Couture wasn't a talker. So he's Armenian. Huh.
Born in Tehran.
Either way, yeah. So it's so he's not a draw like them. But shouldn't his resume speak for itself a little bit? At what point does this entertainment business outweigh performance? At what point, man? You're telling me then your business plan's just who sells the most tickets, regardless of talent? So what's next? So all right, so we're gonna start putting all our marketing dollars into CM Punk type of guys now. So Mickey Gall can speak better than Mousasi. He gets paid more than Mousasi now. Like, where's this stop? What? I mean, you're completely transitioning into WWE now. It's a bummer, man. A guy like Mousasi? That's crazy.
So when Mousasi, this is his last fight, right?
Yep.
Now he's a free agent. So with this kind of win, I'm guessing Bellator would want him, right? Scott Coker would probably want him. So he doesn't care if he wins
fought
this
for
way.
Scott, remember, Strikeforce.
Yeah. So he wouldn't really care about winning this way, would he? Or would he just use that in negotiations to get
No, he's Mousasi. So, if this holds up and he gets this win, it's still 5 in a row. Nonetheless, let's say it goes to no decision, he's still 4 in a row. Look at the 4 guys he's beat. He's still a big name, especially in the middleweight division, whether it's Bellator or UFC. UFC needs to be careful here, man. How many guys are you gonna let go? And I know WME's sitting behind the desk right now going, he's not really a draw, let him go. All right, man. That other team's starting to get pretty fucking stacked. They got some crazy ratings in their last fight, too. Details, man. It's these little cracks in the boat. You guys aren't repairing them. You're not taking care of the crew either. And this crewman has to be pretty fucking good. This Armenian kid.
So even if they did appeal it and say it was a no contest, do you think that affects his price to Bellator?
No, because he's still coming off 4, and if anything, it leaves unfinished business between him and Weidman. So I think it would incentivize the UFC to make a contract happen for Mousasi so we can get that rematch.
So it might help.
Yeah. I think it could help.
Cool.
You know? But, who knows what Bellator is going to throw at Mousasi. And it sounds like literally all Mousasi cares about is money. I don't think he cares about anything else. I think he cares about getting the title and getting paid. You're talking about a guy who's a heavyweight, open weight, light heavyweight, middleweight. He's a beast, man. He has so many fights. Hopefully it works out for him, man. I don't know who his agency is or managers, but hopefully they don't let him go.
Well, it seems like it's going to be good for him then.
Yep. Either way, yeah, he's in a good position.
Sweet.
What else you got, brother?
All right, next one is Anthony Johnson's team is looking to get 20% of Daniel Cormier's purse because of that whole Towelgate incident. I think it was Ali Abdelaziz that's pushing for this.
Yeah, and that's Rumble's manager.
Yeah, the one that he signed with recently.
They don't have much of an argument here because the commission allowed it to go on. So if anything, you're gonna have to try going after their money because they're the ones that said it was all good. And he says Anthony's rights were violated. We will go through proper legal channels to fix this. Everybody saw that happen. How do you lose 1.2 pounds in 2 minutes? I get his argument, but they allowed the fight to happen. Like, you should have made this argument earlier, which I'm sure he did, but he said, we don't want to take anything away from Cormier. He earned that win. No shit. But he needs to give up 20% of his purse to Anthony. He had 2 extra hours to cut the weight, and I think he probably would have, keep scrolling down, would have made it, but as it happened, I don't think he made weight. Fight purse with 500. Cormier's like it pays much more for UFC 10. 20% penalty figured me additional 100,000 more for his bottom line. I mean, I get they're trying to get paid. When your guy performs like that, though, if it was a close fight, if it was like really close and it was back and forth and it's controversial, like split decision, then I can see going after it. When your guy doesn't show up and does nothing and then retires, I'm sure that's not going to help their argument.
He would have had to say also in the beginning too that Rumble didn't weigh 203.8. I think that was what it was. Right? Wouldn't you have to say that? Because like the 1.2 pounds was the whole issue.
Yeah. The other thing is Rumble should have, he's focused on the fight, but they should have brought this up on Friday during the weigh-ins, not after the fact, after your guy gets murked and retires and now you want money, But if everyone can get done, it's this Ali guy. He's a monster. He's a super monster. But I don't think there's much argument there, though.
Yeah, I kind of don't see this happening.
No. What else you got?
All right, next one is Jacare. Outside of this next fight with Rob Whittaker, he will be a free agent as well. And he said he was trying to work with the UFC prior, but they didn't give him they didn't offer him what they believe his value is. So this is worse, right?
Bro, I mean, they're in a critical time right now, man. Jacare? You're not going to give Jacare what he's worth? Mousasi what he's worth? What do you think's going to happen? Look at that middleweight division if you don't pay these guys, man. And also, I love Robert Whittaker. That's a terrible matchup for him. I mean, unless he lands a early, punch or something like that, Jacare, gets him down. It is good night city. He's going to eat his ass up like a snake. So, it's just matchup wise, stylistically, it's a bad matchup for freaking Robert Whittaker. He can beat a lot of guys. I'd love to see Whittaker versus Mousasi or Whittaker versus Weidman or Whittaker versus Rockhold. There's a lot of fun fights. But stylistically, Jacare versus Whittaker is a terrible fight for Whittaker. It's also the easiest fight Jacare's had in quite some time. It's the last fight in his contract. So not very smart thinking, whoever made this matchup. God, to let these guys test free agency is a bad idea. Because you know who has more money than the UFC and Fox?
Viacom?
Correct, sir. So you're letting these guys test the waters to the other team. The other team has more money than you. Granted, they don't, right now they don't have the roster you do, but you guys are fucking up. Because if you let them get a hold of this roster and they have that kind of money, what do you think's going to happen? You're shooting yourself in the foot. What business model is this? What in the world are they doing? This is what happens, man, when you have, when you had Joe Silva, when you had the Fertitas, they would never let these guys fight to their last fight. Never. You always renegotiated. 3 fights before your last one, you renegotiate. Before I fought certain guys, I would renegotiate. They don't let you test the waters because they're afraid you're going to see the grass green on their side and go over there. Why would you let these guys go, man? Don't even give them the chance. Come to some fucking medium here. There has to be a middle ground. I don't understand it, man. I do not understand it. It's not smart business. And there seems to be a recurring theme here, and all it is money and your worth. Okay, fucking Jacare's not Conor McGregor or Ronda Rousey. I get that. Who is? Okay, Mousasi's not doing great fucking promos like Stone Cold Steve Austin. Who is? What are you guys looking for? Jacare is one of the most talented fighters that ever graced the octagon. Mousasi is one of the best fighters to ever grace the octagon. What's that worth to you? You're in the fight business.
Has there ever been a time when this many free agents or
Never.
people fought to free agency?
Never. There's never been this type of where they're letting guys go test the other waters.
Without
never.
signing, yeah.
Never, without at least coming to some sort of agreement. Also, there's never been more guys who have retired since WME has taken over.
Interesting fact.
Look it up. Look it up. Because you're not dealing with the same. Before, let's say I had a problem, you could call Lorenzo. You could talk to someone.
Yeah.
Now it's just faces, man. Now you're in the machine. That's not fun. Especially this sport is so goddamn tough. Now you're in this. You're dealing with faceless people. Negotiations. Faceless people. Enjoy that. And all they do is look at you. Does he sell tickets in Africa? Does he sell tickets in New York? What? Do you morons know the history of Jacare? Do you know he's one of the very best jiu-jitsu practitioners of all time? Do you know the history of Mousasi, what he did in Dream, Strike Force? Do you guys know any of this shit?
This is a very upsetting Big Brown breakdown for you today.
Sorry, man. You know what else grinds my gears? I'm assuming people agree with me. Does no one think it's crazy? I get the whole your value, and from a business aspect, Mousasi and Jacare aren't Conor McGregor. But at what point do we find a middle ground and say, yeah, but we're also in the business of fighting, not just putting on circus acts? We should probably come to agreement with these guys. Is no one else concerned?
It seems like it's good for the fighters, though, right? Unless the UFC was willing to pay them a crapload more than...
They're leaving for a reason. What else you got, boss?
All right, the next one is, since the Gastelum fight got pulled since he tested for marijuana, Luke Rockhold was officially offered the Anderson Silva fight. And the only thing with this is they're not sure if Anderson Silva wants to take it yet.
And from what I hear, Anderson Silva's not taking the fight, which is smart. I mean, Anderson Silva should be fighting other older dudes. Why would you give him this young killer, Luke Rockhold? Luke Rockhold obviously accepted it. No way Anderson takes that fight. That ain't happening. And I think Anderson, he wants to fight, who'd he say?
I know Vitor was a rumor.
Vitor was a rumor, which I guess I'll watch that rematch. I mean, it makes sense. They're both older. I would watch it for sure. The other one is Uriah Hall.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Real quick, so Luke would probably destroy Anderson, right?
Completely destroy him.
Do you think Gastelum would have done less damage or more damage? Since he's blowing up right now.
Yeah,
too.
I know. I think Gastelum would have been a better fight versus Anderson just because Anderson's so much taller. But it's a cool clash of styles, with Gastelum's boxing, and he's a smaller fighter and has to deal with the length and the boxing and striking and kicks of Anderson Silva and the movement and all that. He's also obviously very good on the ground, black belt. Luke Rockhold's bigger, younger, faster, hits harder. I just, I don't see Anderson Silva offering much for Luke Rockhold at this stage in his career. Vintage Anderson Silva, yeah, now you're talking. But of course Luke accepts that fight. You want the most famous guy possible that's going to get you the payday. That would be Anderson Silva. I guarantee you Anderson Silva does not take this fight for good reason. What else you got?
Let's jump to this one. Chris Cyborg, she said that since Duranamy can't fight right now, she's willing to take another fight in between, and she doesn't even need to be an interim title fight. She just wants to fight out that contract. Speaking of free agency.
What is going on? Why is everyone jumping ship? It's
crazy, right?
It's scary. I really do. I love the UFC. I love Bellator too, but they are no UFC, man. I do. I love the UFC. I love a lot of things about it. I obviously hate a lot of things about them, outspoken about it, just because I want to see them make changes to continue this product that they've created, and it has so much more potential to do bigger things. But I don't know what's going on, man. It's scary. It's super scary. So she's saying that she doesn't care about the belt or anything. She just wants to fight out her contract.
Pretty much.
She has 2 fights left on her contract.
Yeah, and she said even if they offered the interim, she goes, she feels that's not like fair to the title holder, so she wouldn't even want to ask for the interim title. She wants to get a fight soon and to fight out the contract.
God, I wonder if the UFC is going to do it. I would imagine they let her fight in the Anaheim card because she'll be a draw on there. I have some hopefully cool news about the Big Round Breakdown around that Anaheim card as well. I haven't even told you that, Chin. I'm waiting for confirmation. Anyways, so she's just wants to get out.
Yeah. Well, she wants to obviously find out how much she's worth too, I'm sure.
I wonder what her market value is because, the UFC created this division for her. She leaves, there is no division. So, there's some value there. She said, I've already been sidelined almost 10 months. They did offer you 2 or 3 fights, though.
She did address that, too.
Did she?
Yeah, that her weight cut was just too hard, so she had to wait.
So she said, and for me, my priority is getting back into the cage for my fans. I have 2 fights remaining on my contract. My goal is to complete them and then give myself an opportunity to reevaluate the situation, see what direction is best for me and my team, which means I'm going to test my market value. Wow.
UFC has to keep her, though, right? There's no way if they let her go.
She's best female fighter in the world, bar none, hands down.
So this would be the smartest decision for her, not to wait for the Duranamy fight, just to fight out that contract, because she's going to destroy pretty much anyone that they put in front of her.
There's no one in the world who can beat her. Not even close. She's the best in the world. Man, this is so interesting to me. I wonder what the play is here. Because the UFC creating that new division at 145, what they don't want is any black eyes, for lack of, no pun intended. They don't want black eyes. You don't want to start a division, then Cyborg's like, I'm out. And they're like, there's no more division. Mm-hmm. They don't want to put their tail between their legs. The ego's too big there for everyone involved in that front office. So I don't know. You know what the smartest thing would have been for Cyborg? I don't think the smartest thing is coming out and telling people this. I think she should have said, hey, listen, we don't care about the belt. I know Jermaine Duranamy's not going to be healthy. I have to find the Anaheim card. Just let me fight. Give me whoever. If it's an interim belt, great. If not, whatever. I just want to fight in Anaheim. Boom, you get that one out of the way. Hey, listen, I feel good. The weight cut wasn't too bad. Just let me fight anyone. Even if Duranamy's not ready. If she is, great. We fight for the title. Then, boom, free agency. I'm the champ. What's up? This is my plan the whole time. But now you've shown your cards. Hopefully the UFC, hopefully not, but I'm sure they will. But now, the scent is out there. Now they're going to be snooping around. Now you might not fight an Anaheim card. Now they're going to say you have to wait till Jermaine's healthy. So you're not going to fight Anaheim because she probably won't make it. And then you're going to fight her, and then you're not going to fight again until we renegotiate. They can make it very ugly for you. Ask Roger Huerta. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
Do you remember Roger Huerta, the first Mexican Like, he fought Kenny Florian. He had the huge fight with Kenny. He was on the front cover of Sports Illustrated, the first UFC fighter to ever grace the cover of Sports Illustrated. He was front kicking. He was a dime piece. He wore those Vale Tudo Mexican shorts. Then he thought he was bigger than his britches, started talking shit to the UFC. He was like, I want to get paid. I'm going to get paid. UFC said, very cool story. You were the poster boy. We're putting you all over the promotions. We're going to go ahead and bench you for about a year at least. And then when you decide you want to fight because you want to fight at your contract, we're going to give you the worst matchup possible. Here's Gray Maynard in his prime. Enjoy that, buddy. And that also won't be televised. We'll put that on an undercard too. Sorry, Gray, but go do our dirty work for us. They'll get you. They'll get you. I don't know why you'd come out. It does no good that Cyborg comes out and says this. I'm with her, man. I want her to get paid. I think she's the best female fighter of all time, probably. There's argument for that. And, what I don't want to have happen is her to keep waiting and her to get out of her prime and it gets tougher for her to make weight and then we don't see the greatness that is Cyborg. So I hope she gets together and just starts being a little more active. But, you're playing with you're poking the bear here. And if the bear notices and decides to hibernate your ass in that contract, that won't be fun for anyone. What else you got?
You want to do one more?
Let's do one more.
I think we covered the majority of these topics.
Did we get all of them?
Yeah, because we would cover another one while we're talking about another one. So,
I went on a little tangent there with the UFC.
Well, here's one that we were talking about, but it's New Jersey wants them to eliminate that rule, reverse the rule of the grounded opponent, which we were talking about earlier.
They want to make it so that no knees.
So if you have any part of your body's touching or your hands or your arms are touching the ground, then you're considered a ground opponent.
Cool. I don't care which way you go, but you can't just remain in the middle in this gray area.
Yeah, they were saying what you were saying. If this wasn't reversed already, then this would have never happened in the first place.
Agree.
And they've never had these issues happen this bad before ever.
The other thing too, and we'll fucking get past this after this, but when Mousasi threw those knees, he's pulling Weidman up and landing those knees.
Yeah.
I promise you, and Mousasi can't see. Mousasi can't tell if Weidman's hands are touching the ground or not. He's throwing those knees regardless. So were they legal, illegal? Mousasi's throwing those. And he's been notoriously known in the past to throw certain illegal kicks, up kicks when they're on the ground, a la Machida fight. So he's done it before. He has a history of this. So he was throwing those regardless. So you got to take that into account. You have no idea when you're in the heat of the moment there, and there's these new rules, and they try to explain them to you in the back and shit. Even Ray Longo in the back of the locker room tells Dan, hey, he's done some dirty shit, man. When he does something dirty, you take a point. Don't give him a warning. Take a fucking point. And he listed off the examples because they thought he was going to do something like this. Any other brain busters? Should we go to the breakdown of this week's Big Fox card? This is a really good card, man. It's really flying under the radar. Maybe because it's Demetrius Johnson, Wilson Reyes, and because they're flyweights, it doesn't get a lot of attention. But you look at this card, and it's fucking good. It's a big Fox card. Rogan's not doing it. I don't think he does Fox cards anymore. But you look at some of the fights, and you're like, damn, man, why is no one really talking about it? Maybe it's because we're just so balls deep into UFC 210 and then obviously UFC 211's the next big pay-per-view, which is a freaking monster. But you got Sterling Mendez to start on the UFC Fight Pass, which is, a great fight. Then on the first card on Fox, the preliminary card, you got Tim Elliott. If you remember Tim Elliott, he won the Ultimate Fighter, had the chance to fight Demetrius Johnson, gave Demetrius Johnson all he could handle and more. You know what I'm saying? So this is his first fight. I'm pretty sure this is his first fight since that unanimous decision. But that was the first time DJ's been in trouble, really, if you think about it. So you got Tim Elliott, and then he's fighting Smolka. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, and with Smolka, granted he's coming off 2 losses, but as the Ray Borg loss, the Marino loss. Before that, he was on a big ass win streak. He had the blunder against Chris in his second fight, and that was even a split decision. But other than that, he's fallen a little bit of hard times. a decision. Then he got choked out. But this would be a tough card to call fight of the night. If we bet on anything, let's bet on fight of the night. The best bonus of the night.
Sounds good.
So yeah, Tim Elliott. Then you got Bobby Green hasn't fought in a while versus Magomedov. Great fight. And then I love this fight. Alexander Volkov versus Roy Nelson. Alexander Volkov, if you remember him, he was the champ in Bellator. He was the heavyweight champ in Bellator for a while. Then he went to M1. Yeah, there you go. He was the champ in Bellator. He lost to Tony Johnson split decision. He lost to Czech Congo split decision. Then he went to M1. That's that Russian league. And then he won a split decision versus Tim Johnson in his first UFC fight. But he would come to Reign to train with us. They would bring all the Russians. They're all Bellator Russians. Dude, this kid is super talented. I don't know how old he is. Does it say how old he is? I don't know if he's getting past his
28.
prime. He's 28. Jeez. He's young. He's tall. Check it. He's 6'7".
Oh, dear
every
God.
bit of 6'7". But I would say 6'8". That's being generous. He's 28 years old. He's 6'7", 6'8", can move, has great footwork, really tough to take down, great stand-up, great kicks, great boxing. I mean, he's a tough customer, man. And for Roy, my old friend Roy, hell of a right hand, am I right? For Roy Nelson, he's coming off of, he beat Big Nog. Remember, he just frickin' wailed on Big Nog. If you remember, I'm sorry, Bigfoot Silva. Remember how bad he knocked out Bigfoot Silva? And they were friends, and he was mad because the ref didn't jump in time. Remember, he kicked Big John. Remember that?
Yep.
So this is that. Since then, that was in September, man. A little bit a while ago in Brazil. Then he lost a split decision to Derek Lewis. He beat Jared Rochal. And then a lot of decisions, man. Then he lost to Josh Barnett, lost to Overeem decision, then that Mark Hunt KO. But God, what a career for freaking Roy Nelson, man. He's one of those guys you just gotta, you can't help but watch. And he's fought the who's who, man, everyone. And look how tough this guy is. Decision Junior Dos Santos. If you remember, he ate some fucking shots in that fight. Decision of Frank Mir. Granted, he got his ass whooped in that fight. Decision of Verdum. He knocked the fuck out of Czech Congo. If you remember that knockout, it sounded like a shotgun. He lost a Stipe decision. That was kind of Stipe's coming out party. Lost a decision to DC. Think how tough this guy is to finish. And then Mark Hunt obviously did him super dirty with the walk-off uppercut. That's the legend of Mark Hunt. That's in Japan. Shout out to Mark Hunt. Shout out to Mark Hunt's new tattoo. Seen that titty piece he got?
It looks pretty crazy.
Do you know Mark Hunt's background? Dark dude.
Really dark?
Oh my God. His childhood? You know his childhood?
No.
Woo, woo.
How bad is it?
Again, this is a story the UFC should tell. He'd get a lot. You think he's a big deal now. If the American fans knew his background, it's some horrible, horrible shit.
Was he abused or something?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit.
Horrible background. Look that up. I'm not getting into it. That's his story to tell. But it is dark as fuck, and that tattoo is dark as well. And it's covering up that beautiful, beautiful New Zealand, thicker than a... You know how people say thicker than a king-size Snickers? Snickers aren't that thick. You know what's fucking thick? I was thinking about this last night in bed because I'm on a diet now. You know what I was thinking is thicker than Snickers?
What?
Dog, a Three Musketeer is so thick. They are so fucking thick. Have you ever had one?
Yeah.
They're all nougat. They're all nougat. They are so fucking thick. I was like, dude, why don't people, I guess it doesn't rhyme. Thicker than a Snickers, that's fun. That makes sense. Thicker than a Musketeer is what it should be. Those things are so good, and the chocolate it's like a dark chocolate and thick. Then it's a thick nougat in the middle. That's the thickest fucking candy in the world. Mark Hunt is thicker than the Three Musketeer. It doesn't rhyme, but it's fucking true. Shout out to Mark Hunt and that beautiful chest titty piece. It's good work too. Anyways, back to Roy Nelson. Decision Overeem. Decision Barnett beats Jared Rochal, who's a tough customer. Derek Lewis decision, split decision, and then knocks out Antonio Silva. How he's not ranked in top 15, I understand he's had some losses. Look at his losses, though. How is he not ranked top 15? You look at the top 15, it's like, fuck you. He beats a lot of these guys. And he's the underdog against this kid, against Volkov. He's the underdog. I haven't seen these lines.
Oh, we won't save these?
Let me see the ones I already did. So Sterling Mendez, Mendez is a world-class jiu-jitsu guy. I'm almost positive he was dating Mackenzie Dern's. Most positive. I don't think they're together anymore, but shout out to him for even getting to that mountain. He's fighting Sterling. Sterling, he's a Ray Longo guy. There's so much promise with him, but something seems to be going on there. I'll take Sterling just because Mendez is so one-sided with his jiu-jitsu. Tim Elliott, I will not bet against Tim Elliott. After seeing him, what he did against the very best in the world, and he had him some serious trouble, I'll take Tim Elliott over Smoka. Bobby Green over Magomedov, no sir. I'll take Magomedov in that fight. Bobby Green, he's hit or miss. He's fun to watch. He talks a lot of shit, but good luck. That shit talking doesn't work against those stone cold Russians. Let's go back to the card. Mm-hmm. And then I see. I'm not. Again, I've trained with Alexander. I've trained with Roy. Obviously, fought Roy. Obviously, fought in the Ultimate Fighter with him. I don't see how Roy's an underdog. His bag of tricks. He's a guy who's gonna be able to fight into his goddamn 50s. He doesn't use a lot of energy. Has a granite chin. His chin's gone. He got knocked up by Mark Hunt with an uppercut. Mark Hunt would knock out a goddamn moose with that uppercut. Don't give me that shit. Roy Nelson's still there, man. I like Roy Nelson as my underdog pick for this fight. Let's go to the main card. But, dude, just as you listen to this, I agree. I haven't seen any hype on this card. It's a beast of a card. It's such a fun card. And then Jacare Souza versus Robert Whittaker. Whittaker's fun to watch, man. What's best for the UFC? I mean, Whittaker is he's kind of the young lion here. And, he he started off a little rough there, really rough. Started 2-2, but he lost Court McGee split decision, and then he lost to
Wonder Boy.
There's no shame in that. He got murked by Wonder Boy. That's a tough matchup for him. But then it's off to the races, man. And his best win, he beat Uriah Hall decision. Brad Tavares, especially at the time, knocked him out. Natal's always a tough customer. He beat him by decision, and then Derek Brunson. Derek Brunson just went, Anthony Johnson and just ran straight and then got fucking murked. But he's learned from that. What's the lines on this? I mean, it's not too crazy. He's plus 190. Jacare's minus 230. It's the crazy game of MMA. So, you always take that into consideration. But Jacare's he's fought so much more talented guys. He submitted the fuck out of Tim Boetsch. He blasted Vitor Belfort. He had that split decision to Romero, which some people thought he won.
Do you remember that? I don't remember if I felt that. I think I felt Jacare won that fight.
I thought Jacare won the fight. I really did. And they fought poor Chris Camozzi, who fought him twice and just gets submitted twice. Shout out to Chris Camozzi. And then, submitted Gegard Mousasi, who we keep talking about. And then, beat Francis Carmont, who's, usually typically plays it safe, GSP protege. Then he knocked out Okami. Then again, he beat Chris Camozzi. He beat Derek Brunson. You look at what this guy has done, man, and, it's tough. Really, he's won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You have that controversial loss to Yoel Romero, but in Big Brown's book, I had him winning that fight. So really, he's won 11 fights in a row, beating the who's who, by the way. Beating, Tim Boetsch isn't the who's who, but he's always tough. And remember, that was a short-nosed fight. So he beats Tim Boetsch, Belfort, Romero, Mousasi, Okami, Brunson. He beat Robbie Lawler. He beat Tim Kennedy. Beat Matt Lindland. Yeah. He's beat the who's who. So it'd be tough to bet against Jacare in this fight. And, he wants to get that title shot so damn bad. Stylistically, I love Whittaker. I pick Whittaker almost over a lot of guys in the top 8, but not Jacare. I just think it's a bad matchup for him. I actually don't like the fight for Whittaker. But again, Whittaker has so much power in his hands. His takedown defense is pretty good. Souza surprised you with his striking every now and then. It's getting a lot better, but he goes to the ground. In Whittaker, I don't care who you are, Whittaker would be in trouble. So I'll take Jacare Submission, had an arm choke, second round. And then the co-main event, that's your fight of the night. That's who I'll go with fight of the night.
Oh, good. I have a different pick then.
Yes. Yes. So you got Rose Namajunas versus Michelle Waterson, the karate hottie. What are the odds on this fight? The winner of this fight's fighting for a title for sure. Wow, Rose is an underdog. I mean, Michelle Waterson's an underdog, plus 121, minus 142.
That's for Bet DSI, and then on 5 dimes, it's plus 115. Michelle Waterson, minus 135 for Rose Namajunas.
Man, I like Michelle Waterson in this fight. I really do. If you look at Rose, go to Rose for me. You look at Rose. You know, her last loss, split decision. I thought she lost that fight. Who's the best girl Rose has beat? That Tisha Torres, probably? Not Paige, especially at the time. I love Paige, but she was definitely a hype machine. Then, Dance with the Stars and all that.
Yeah, Tisha Torres.
Tisha Torres. A lot of people forget Michelle Waterson's one of the original gangsters of women's MMA. Not to mention the original dime piece. And she's a mom. If you haven't seen her documentary, it's ridiculous. She's a mom. She handled just like kind of Rose did, Paige Van Zandt. But she's beat a lot of tough girls, man. Jessica Penny. There's a lot of girls. And if you remember, Michelle Waterson, think about it, she's been fighting since 2006. Is that right?
I see 2007.
And she did karate before that. She's been a Jackson's girl fighter for a long, long time in Albuquerque. And she was on the Tap Out show. Do you remember that Tap Out show? Remember, it was like Mask, Punk,
I never saw it, but I know of
and they
it.
would drive around and they'd go to a fight. Cowboy was on it.
I know
Cowboy
of the
was
show,
on it.
yeah.
Michelle Waterson was on it. They had a bunch of fighters were on it. Michelle Waterson's one of the original women gangsters of MMA, and she's one of the good ones, man. Not that Rose isn't. I love Rose too. Actually, I know both of them. I love both of them, but I just feel like Michelle has so much more experience. Rose fights with a lot of emotion, which can get you in trouble with a girl like Michelle Waterson. Mm-hmm. Michelle Waterson, the karate hottie, she has a karate background. So her striking and distance is very good. Michelle Waterson on the ground is a beast too, which Rose on her feet isn't great. Rose on the ground, scrappy, explosive, unconventional, tough to deal with. If there's anyone who can deal with that unconventional kind of grappling, it'd be Michelle Waterson. She's seen a lot of that in her, in her career. She has way more fights. She just does. You look at her record, you look at her camp, stuff like that. So I like Michelle Waterson as the underdog, and I also like it as the fight of the night.
Nice.
Who's your fight of the night?
Well, Tim Elliott versus Louis Smolka.
That's a good pick.
Immediately drew my attention.
I know that Tim Elliott has fight of the night.
Wild dude. He's such a wild guy.
I know. And Louis Smolka is no joke either.
Yeah.
I can see that. Then the main event, Demetrius Johnson. Dear God, I know you're going for the most title defenses of all time, stuff like that. Wilson Reis, he's been fighting for a long time too. He's not like this up and comer new guy. He's kind of seen it all. He put on a 3-fight win streak. He lost to Jussier Formiga. But he's not a guy who's going to knock your hair back, man. He's just not. This is one of those fights where, I'm not taking anything away from Wilson, but it really is. It's an easier fight for Demetrius Johnson than the Tim Elliott fight. And we thought, I thought Tim Elliott was going to get smoked, but after seeing Tim Elliott's skills and the matchup, and him being, a bigger guy, stuff like that, it's spelled a lot of trouble for Demetrius Johnson. I just, maybe that's why this fight's not getting so much hype. And it's not Demetrius Johnson's fault, but he's going to do work on this guy. Reis is very one-dimensional. His striking's all right. His big advantage in this fight is jiu-jitsu, but his advantage, when we talk about advantage in jiu-jitsu, is traditional jiu-jitsu. MMA jiu-jitsu, Demetrius Johnson's better. I wouldn't even be surprised if Demetrius Johnson submitted him.
Wow.
Wears him out, gets in his face, applies pressure, and breaks him and submits him. I could very well see that. Or he just knocks him out, TKOs him. Or most likely, because they're flyweights, it goes to a decision. But I think Demetrius Johnson gets it done and gets a finish.
Cool.
And then for the love of all that's holy, move on. You gotta fucking move on.
What do you mean?
Demetrius has to move on.
Oh.
He can't keep fighting at this weight class. You can't keep flying at flyweight. Do you hate money? Do you hate ratings? Do you hate sponsors? Do you hate marketability? There's argument, especially now, that he's the pound for pound greatest fighter in the world. That's all fine and dandy, but it's just not working, man. It's not working. The Henry Cejudo fight. Henry doesn't have a lot of fights. Tim Elliott got the opportunity by The Ultimate Fighter. John Dotson, Horiguchi, Ali Bagatanov, Joey Benavidez. That I thought Joey would give him a big run for his money. He's just so goddamn good. But in order for him, I think, to cross over to the mainstream, he has to get out of this small man's flyweight division. Get your title. I think he beats Anderson for the most title defenses. Get that. You establish that. You're already a Hall of Famer. You're a walking legend right now in mixed martial arts. You've done it, man. You've established yourself there. Now let's go to 135. Test the waters at 135. A Dominic Cruz super fight. Cody Garbrandt super fight. TJ Dillashaw super fight. There's all this shit, man. Why not? I don't get it, man. I understand he's trying to get this right and stuff like that, but he's not a draw in the least bit. There's a reason why he's not in pay-per-view. He's just not. But how you could for sure sell Cody Garbrandt, Dominic Cruz, TJ Dillashaw fight, super fight, with the best lightweight flyweight fighter of all time, the pound for pound best fighter in the world, is coming for that belt.
That is so freaking weird. That's the one thing that I still don't understand. That 125 compared to 135, how big of a difference it is as far as fans.
Have you ever seen those guys? Are so tiny. I know I sound like a sizist, but that's the reason why it's not. People just don't gravitate toward it because they're just such small little guys. No one appreciates what's going on. It's a bummer. But then you look at 135, it's stacked. Like I would love to watch any of those. Jimmy Rivera, John Lineker, Sansao, TJ Dillashaw. They're tiny, but they're not micro machine tiny. Like those, dude, you see some of those guys and you're like, God, dog, you are borderline midget. Small person. Sorry, Brad Williams. Small person. It's like they're walking that fine line of just being too damn small. So I just think that's the next move. Beat this guy, move on. There's nothing else for you. Look, number one, Joey Benavidez, Henry Cejudo, Wilson Reyes, Ray Borg. I guess Ray Borg could be one who hasn't fought. Jose Formega, Sergio Pettis could be a fun one. Ian McCall, they already fought. He's fought almost all these guys. Get out of here. Flyweight to bantamweight. Make it happen. That's what's next.
Well, you've seen how many of the flyweights do you know or seen in person? Besides Ian McCall, because that's the only one person I can actually.
Ian McCall, Joey Benavidez, my boy. DJ, we did signings together, hung out. Cejudo, UFC Now. Jose Formega, saw in Brazil. Sergio Pettis, I've seen with his brother. Obviously, Ian McCall. That's it, man.
Oh, so let me ask you this. So Ian McCall and Sergio Pettis, do they look sort of the same height? Or do they look sort of the same? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Proportions and everything?
Yeah. Sergio's a little taller, but they're tiny human beings. 125 pounds.
I got to admit, when Ian was in here, I didn't realize he's that small. Especially since I saw TJ afterwards. TJ looked like much taller.
Yeah, I know. From flyweight to bantamweight is big difference. Like, John Lineker's thick. There's some guys, who are big bantamweights. Like Cruz, I could easily see at 45. TJ Dillashaw 45. Asanso's muscle bound. There's a lot of guys. Jimmy Rivera is a big boy, but they belong in that weight class. Cody Garbrandt could easily go to 45. He says he can go down to 25. I don't see that happening, but he said he would like to fight Demetrius Johnson. Demetrius Johnson versus Cody Garbrandt, such a fun fight. Or Dominic Cruz. Already went over it. Is that it, brother?
That's
so
it.
our bet is my fight of the night's Michelle Waterson, Rose. Yours is Tim Elliott, Smolka.
Yep.
Boom.
Boom. No idea what to bet for, but
Me neither. But we'll just keep a running tally.
sounds good.
Because I did win the DC.
Yeah,
bet.
you did.
I
You
did.
did.
I did. Boom! Special edition of the Big Brown Breakdown. My brother from another mother, a guy I've known for many, many of years. We met on the set of Ultimate Fighter 10, where we both got our start. It was kind of our ticket to the chocolate factory of fighting on the Ultimate Fighter 10. We were both on Team Rashad of the Ultimate Fighter. Ladies and gentlemen, might be the best person walking planet Earth right now. He's a much, much better man than I am. He's saving children in Africa, and he's just he's a better person than I am. I'm not afraid to admit that. Justin Wren, everybody.
Thank you.
It's a decent intro.
I don't know what to say to that. 'Cause
And
it's not true.
And
yeah.
Elias Theodoro is going to be upset, but you have the best hair to ever walk in the studio.
Yeah, he's got Bird Plus. I'm going to start up Thoriel so that way.
Do it, man.
Yeah.
Thoriel would be so sick
Yes.
because you have the beard too.
Yeah.
Dude, you're
I
killing
used
it
to be
right
the
now.
Viking, right? So
No longer the Viking, the big pygmy now,
Yeah.
right?
Woo-ah.
Yeah, son.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, you're all over the place, man. And anytime like, hey, I'm coming to town, we always have you on. And you obviously you make the rounds. I think you've done Mind Pump. You're doing Rogan. You're obviously on this show. You're just making the rounds. And it's different because whenever a fighter comes in town, they're promoting their fight. It's all about the fight. And that's fun and dandy and all that, but there's not much to talk about, really. But with you, like, every time it's like, hell yeah, come on, because you're obviously the fight is secondary with your story. The fight really is, it's a vehicle, but you're doing such big things. That's kind of, the fight takes a back story. Like, whenever you come on, of course, we're going to talk about fighting because that's what we do, but it's really not that important, is it?
Yeah. For me, it's my vehicle to tell people a bigger story. Something that really matters is important, which I love fighting. I love to get out there and perform. So good. This last fight, just March 3rd, to get in there and win and to do it in a dominant fashion or, finish the guy. But
Your signature head and arm choke.
Yeah, like that.
If anyone's ever
Couple
trained with
throws.
Justin Wren, his head and arm choke is world class.
Hey, thank you. So it was good. It felt good to go in there and perform, but to perform for a bigger reason than just myself was something really cool. It's a great opportunity, and to tell people, like, making the rounds, being here the day after World Water Day. That's why I came to LA.
Oh, nice, man.
To promote World Water Day and to let people know that hey, there's a water crisis out there that a lot of us don't know about. I didn't know about it until I got slapped upside the head with it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's brutal, but we have an answer, a solution. It's sustainable. It empowers the locals. So how can we do that?
I was watching your last fight. I watched it. I watch all your fights. You sent me the fight like I'm some shitty friend or something like that doesn't watch all your fights. But you sent to me. Then the reason I watched it again is to watch the post-fight interview because, and I was thinking about it. It's more about just getting the word out and get how every company that I've ever seen or talked to isn't on board with the fight for the forgotten. I don't think that they would turn it down. Just like you, they just don't know about it. So the more you're out there, the more these companies to jump on board. And I'm sure you have an agent or manager. I hope you do.
Yeah. She's great.
And they should be all over this because these companies, I mean, who would turn it down to helping children in Africa that don't have clean water? You know what I'm saying? So when I'm watching your fight, I'm looking at your sponsor, I'm looking at what you're doing, and you're well-spoken. You're obviously not some clown that's just doing this for notoriety or anything like that. Like, you're doing it to make a difference. And I'm looking at the sponsors you have, which are great, and you have some huge sponsors, but how you don't have more and how it's not a bigger kind of voice for these other companies is besides me. And it comes down to maybe they just don't know.
Yeah. I think that's with just the world water crisis in general. People just don't know. And then when it comes to this, we really have slowed down, and we want to be very strategic with any sponsorships that we take on because we want to make a real difference and impact with that sponsorship. Like, if you're going to sponsor me, you're going to sponsor them. We're going to sponsor water wells. Absolutely. That's first priority. That's why I came back to the sport. That's probably why I had a slow start. My first 2 fights back, I mean, having 5 years off, but then getting the ball rolling, really having the time to really focus. And we moved to Oklahoma City, Emily and I, my wife and I.
I didn't know that.
We moved to Oklahoma City to be around Water
Beautiful.
4, to be around some great wrestling. And then now I'm main training partners, and my coach is Rafael Lovato Jr.
He's one of the nicest guys in the world.
my
I was on
gosh.
Metamoris with him. He's just the nicest guy.
Yeah.
Monster,
humble.
too.
Absolute monster. He's
Monster.
the scariest guy.
Scary
I've
man. Don't let
ever
his
trained with.
charming looks fool you.
Yeah.
He's a monster.
Absolutely. He's the most dominant grappler I've ever competed with ever. And I've been on the mat with at least 4 or 5 different world or Olympic champions in wrestling. And this guy's just a whole other level, whole other beast. So I'm in a good place right now, a great place, having Water 4 around, having, him to train with, and just being able to focus on what's important. I get to go into the Water 4 offices 2, 3, 4 times a week, and in between training, and I get to talk to my guys in Congo on Skype or WhatsApp and everything else. We get to keep making this thing bigger and bigger. We're about to start a soap production facility over in the Congo, hopefully in July or August. So that'll provide another 8 to 10 new jobs. We already have 18 guys there. And Water 4 as a whole. So our team, Fight for the Forgotten, has 18 people, but Water 4 has 375. That's 16 different African nations where these guys are employed. They start up their own well drilling business. We get to put the tools in their hands, the training and knowledge in their heads, send them out so that they can change their own community because they're from that community. They can make a bigger difference than we can. We just get to be that empowerment mechanism. And so those 375 people in Africa gave 172,000 people clean water last year.
A lot of people.
That was 690 water wells.
Damn, man.
690
Good for
water
you.
wells, all done by the in-country partners. So it's not just people from the West. Like, I'm not the guy doing it. I was there for a year and I drilled 13 water wells. But the year I left, that was where the proof in the pudding came, because then our team drilled 20 water wells. Then last year they did 29.
And that's
so
what
they're
you want.
constantly growing. Yes.
Yeah.
You got to be able to pass the baton or the torch.
You have to.
and
You
let
can't
them
be there.
carry it
You
on.
can't live there and just make it your life.
Well, if it was dependent on me, then I already failed, because when something happens to me, it's going to crumble. Or if
Yeah.
I'm not there, the work's going to stop. And if you have to micromanage people, I think that's the difference between charity and opportunity. Charity is just a handout, and
then you-
opportunity is a
then
hand
you're
up.
gone. Yep.
Yeah. And so you give something away and you disappear, or a lot of times what we do from the West, thinking it's all from a good heart and good intentions. But the traditional model has been, let's announce our arrival with a parade. Let's throw a big party. Let's give them a bunch of stuff, take a bunch of pictures, and let's leave and go on to the next one. Because these big organizations, they have so much money, they almost don't know what to do with. And then they have to hit these quotas. They have to get a bunch of tally marks to please the donors over here. But it's like, that way only allows for you to give handouts and leave, and you never develop relationships with the people that you're trying to help.
Which that doesn't help at
Yeah,
all.
it doesn't help. And there's even a great documentary I just watched called Poverty Inc. And it talks about how charity has really crippled so many communities out there. And then there's a great book out called When Helping Hurts. And it's talked about, hey, all these people really do want to help, and it's really great. But we have to be smart about it, strategic about it, think about it. Like a fight, you got to have a game plan. Like fighting poverty, you have to have a game plan. You can't just throw a bunch of money at the problem.
But I feel like with charity, and there's been kind of a umbrella of black eyes, because you hear about maybe you give money to charity and they're not using that money for what you originally thought it was for. So then automatically it gives legit charities and legit functions a black eye.
Right.
But you guys might be using it for for example, Fight for the Forgotten. It's a legit cause. But this company over here, it's a huge black eye with their charity, so you guys get lumped in with them. That's why I feel like people are a little hesitant to believe everything these days.
No, you're right. And that's why.
Same with fighters and steroids, PDs.
Oh, yeah.
We all don't do it. Just because this clown did over here and gave us a black eye doesn't mean everyone does it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And so that's what's so cool, man, for me, being able to come into this and have this platform. Honestly, I didn't know if I would come back to fighting, because this to me is so much more valuable, or just fulfilling to my own life. Now, I love fighting. It's my second greatest passion.
It's in your blood.
Yeah, it's in my blood. That's who I am.
It really is.
Yeah, thanks. And but to be able to fight for people is so much more rewarding, and to do it in a sustainable way where they grab hold of it and say, this is ours.
Yeah.
That we've been empowered, or, it's created an opportunity to have dignity. It isn't something that they have to sit back. We don't go in there and push them out of the way and say, stand back. We're here to fix this problem for you because you can't do it for yourself. It's
You give them the tools.
They're completely capable, able. They want to do it. They're sitting back. I don't think most mentally sane people want to be poor for their life. Not at all.
Or feel helpless. Like
Yeah.
they have to depend on you.
Yeah. And so some of these places have actually been crippled by charity where, so many government subsidies of the first world countries, even Haiti has been demolished by their farming there in country. They can't compete with the American farmers. That there's so many bags of rice. I've been there. I've seen it. This is American made or American grown rice.
Damn.
And they just give it away.
Yeah.
And so it crushes the economy for the local farmers
Yeah.
to where they can work hard, try to send their kids to school by their hard labor, but they can't compete with the outside first world coming in and just giving stuff away. So that's why we got to slow our roll, look around, sit and listen, live with them for a little bit, listen, learn
Understand
from
the
them.
way it works, man. Just don't
'Cause-
come in like a bull in a china shop and mess up the whole ecosystem.
Right. Because it's not a cookie cutter solution for every country or
They're all
every
different,
community
yeah?
and culture. Everything's different. Even in Congo, there's over 200 tribes.
A lot of tribes.
A lot of tribes. Those are over 200 different cultures. So from this one to this one, you're not going to have the same solution. You got to modify it.
I feel like for you, the best choice in your situation to get the fight for the forgotten out there, I don't think you could have done this, and this is not a knock on the UFC. I'm not picking on the UFC, but I don't think your voice would have got out as much if you weren't with Bellator and Spike. Because when you fight, it's literally, and it's not that Jimmy Smith or anyone's doing a bad job, but it's basically a campaign of what you're doing. Yeah. Thank God you're winning.
Yeah.
If you're in your ass whipping like a fight for the forgotten, like that would suck.
Right.
If you're just getting mollywopped like you
Right.
suck at fighting, you're not helping anyone. Let's be real.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're going there, you're doing work. It's literally like a campaign of what you're doing, what you stand for. Every fight, and it's getting better and better. This is sizzle reel on how good of a person you are, what the difference you're making, why you're doing this. And like your last fight, the crowd, you're Mick Jagger up in that bitch. I was like, dang, you never got that in the UFC, the Ultimate Fighter, and your other fights.
No, this was, I think over 300 of our friends and family bought tickets that I didn't even know about. And so it was just like, it was nuts. Eco Survivor, my big sponsor, they got 100 tickets for their employees to come to the fight and just be able to rally around us. And so it's really cool because it's not, before in fighting, you have to be selfish to some degree. You have to get in the right training. You have to get the right nutrition. You have to focus on yourself to be able to go in there and go to battle.
But I'm going to interrupt you. You have to fight for the right reason.
Exactly.
You have to find your reason to fight.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say. Now I have that, and I didn't have that before. I was just fighting for myself, and now I have a much bigger reason. Of course, my wife, my family, but so much so the thing that got me to say yes to come back was sitting down with Scott Coker, and we were writing the book at the time, me and Loretta, and which just called Fight for the Forgotten. And he came and he was like, we have an opportunity for you to fight. UFC was the same way, but Bellator just was saying, we want to rally around this. We want to, and I think that's how they sit down with a lot of fighters. They truly want to build the fighter up first and to build a brand around them. And so it's really cool to see that, to be able to have the sponsors was so huge for me.
It's
to be able to sit down
everything
with
for
Rich.
you.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I'm saying, that it's not a knock
Everything.
on UFC, but with your store and your platform, you have to have these sponsors to get the wells and do all this stuff. In the UFC, Reebok's not sent. They might send those kids a pair of freaking Reebok pumps. They're like, all right, great, we're thirsty as hell. These pumps do nothing for us. That's all you get in UFC. And they have a hard time telling anyone's story, let alone this brilliant story.
Yeah.
So I just feel like it just, for whatever reason, the stars aligned and it worked out for you. And I feel like, and you see it with anyone, these free agents, and Ryan Bader, who just joined forces with you. Larkin. And I'm sure McDonald's going to follow.
Yeah.
And you have all these, Fedor, Mitrione, you have all these guys coming, Chael Sonnen, and you just.
Duffy now, Joseph Duffy testing.
Oh, Duffy's there?
No, he's testing the free agency. He's taking 90 days, and he's going to field an offer.
But you just see all these guys coming over, and they're saying the same thing. They're going, sat down with Coker, man, and he just sold me, and he actually cares, and it's not an ego thing, and he's hearing me out, and he's being respectful, and he understands the journey. So I feel like everyone's saying the same thing, man.
I think when I was with Scott, what really impressed me was he put his phone away, and he looked me in the eyes, and he sat there and listened. He asked me questions about not just me as a fighter, but me and what I'm doing in the Congo, asked about my family. He wanted to get to know who I was, what I was about. And he said, we can get behind this. And so it was like, wow, like he's actually listening to me, trying to do what I'm trying to do over in Congo, listening to people, learning from him. He wanted to listen and learn from me about who I was, what I wanted to do, what my goals and dreams were. He wanted to rally
He's just a
around
good
that.
person, man. It goes a long way this day and age, especially in the business, the fight business, or promoter. Because if you look at Scott's history, and people think, oh, Schaub signed with Bellator. Bellator doesn't pay my bills. UFC doesn't pay my bills. You know, Daddy has bills now. Daddy has bills. I pay my own bills, you know? So those guys have nothing to do with it. The reason why I support Scott is because he's a guy's guy, man. And if you look what Scott's done in starting Strike Force, and look at anyone big in the game right now, Scott found them. Yeah. Scott's one. That's who they all come from.
Rockhold.
All of them. Chakra, Ronda, Misha, Robbie Lawler, like it goes on and on. I can go on all day what he's done. So now you see he's making these moves in Bellator, and it's good. It's good for everyone. It's good for the ecosystem of fighting in general. For the UFC, it's good. For Bellator, it's good. There's new Russian league. For everyone, it's good, man. Yeah. I just feel like Scott, he's this outlier. It's not that he has this, he does, but it's not because he's so talented, which he's really talented. I'm not knocking that. It's because he's being nice. He's being a normal human being. Yeah. He's not being a shark, which most promoters are.
Yeah, you know what you're going to get with Scott up front. And then he sprinkles in some even better stuff as it goes along.
Yeah, you're like, dang, man.
Yeah.
And with you, and this isn't a knock. You had 5 years off?
5 years, 2 months.
That's a long time, man. Like the cage,
they didn't know what they were
cage
gonna
rust
get.
is real.
Yeah, for sure.
And the training and all
Whenever
that.
I didn't train at all during that time.
And remember,
going back
5
and forth.
years, especially when you stop fighting, the game evolves fast.
Yeah,
Even at
exactly.
heavyweights, they're a little slower to evolve, but they evolve fast. So when you came back, I was a little worried, man, because the game starts fast. And you couldn't have done this in any other promotion. But with Bellator, they at least let you start slow.
Oh, yeah,
like, you know, I
absolutely.
can check Congo right away, Mitrione right away, Fedor right away.
Yeah.
So you've ripped off, 3 fights in a row now?
Yeah, 3 in a row since I've been back. I think it's a 6-fight win streak or something like that since before I left. And
so when do you think?
It's been good.
So when do you think Scott's gonna say, "All right, man, we're gonna not release the hounds, but we're gonna take the training wheels off, and you're gonna get a Czech Congo, a Mitrione, a Fedor, gangster weight fight with Chael Sonnen. Like, there's some monsters out there, man.
Yeah, there's some monsters out there. I mean, it's a dream for me. I'm going off a little bit, but as a stupid, young, dumb high school kid, me and my friends that all watched MMA, because I started watching it at 13 years old, we drove down to Fedor, Texas, and we stole a sign that said Fedor. Sweet. And so I had that until I was, when we were training together at Grudge, I had that on my house at the top of the mountain. And so I would love to fight him someday. Maybe 2, 3, 4 fights down the line.
I don't know if he's around in 4 fights.
Yeah, I know. So that's why I need to get another good win or 2 under my belt. But I'm excited to start stepping it up and start really shaking things up. But it was good. This last fight, the first 2 fights back were rough. They were rushed, and I wasn't in a place where I was doing what I do best. I was working on my weaknesses. And so the muscle memory of my strengths didn't come back because I hadn't done it in over 5 years.
Which is, for people who don't know, your background, Greco-Roman wrestling, world class. You get those underhooks. National champ. You get those underhooks, people are going for a ride. Grappling's your thing. You have a granite chin. You can box. You're good at boxing. But really, grappling, getting those underhooks, taking guys for a ride is what you do. I think you got away from that for sure.
Yeah, I did. I got away from it, and that's why I didn't finish the guys. I think statistically, every fight that's hit the ground, I finished. And so I just need to, I need to work on my boxing, I need to get better there. I need to put guys away there, which I've done in fights, but I need to do what I do best. And that's why it's so great to be with the monster of Rafael Lovato Jr. He's just such a pressure passing, smash pass, like just grinding on you, doesn't give you an inch. The only guy, and we've trained with Carwin and been underneath that beast in worst case scenario, but the only guy to ever make me feel claustrophobic underneath is
a lot
Rafael.
Different because of his balance and the way he controls you.
Can't get him off. He's stuck to you.
He might be.
It's like glue.
I'm trying to think. He's definitely one of the most accomplished American grapplers out there. Is he number one? He might be number one, the best.
Yeah. American
gringo
grappler.
white grappler of all time. He's up there.
Yeah,
I think he's 1 or 2.
April 15th, he's competing here at the ADC trials, super fight against Buchecha. So
and I've rolled with Buchecha, man. He's an animal.
Yeah, and so these two are going at it, and a lot of people are saying
they've gone
one of the
before,
best, or they haven't gone before.
They've never competed.
No. So it's like the stars are all aligning for him. It's like a destiny kind of moment where, one of, if not the best Brazilian grappler versus the best American grappler.
Most people rank Buchecha 1. There's Cyborg, Buchecha, your boy Lovato. Like, there's some monsters up there.
Yeah.
Do you feel like when I was interested, when you're walking out to the cage, I was thinking, I wonder, do you deal with the same nerves now that you're fighting for something else? You know, when you're in the back before, like when we're all on the Ultimate Fighter and you're in the UFC, the nerves are real.
Yeah.
But when you're fighting for something else, like I feel like I deal with the nerves a little better now that I have a son because I'm fighting to all this stuff. And it was funny, my financial manager showed me a graph of my income before my son, after my son. And I didn't even realize it, but I just went into, as a horrible term the kids say, beast mode.
Yeah.
Once my son was born,
Provider mode,
just this natural papa instinct went brrr, and I'm doing multiple shows. My comedy went here. I'm booking this show. I'm doing. I've never been so busy. I didn't even realize it's just like this papa instinct took over. And I was thinking, man, if I was fighting, I bet I wouldn't be as not that I was a hot mess, but I was super nervous and scared. But I wouldn't be as scared because I'm fighting for something bigger than myself.
Yeah.
So I was thinking when you were fighting, I'm like, I wonder if Justin's dealing with the same nerves, you know, because you're fighting for such a heavy reason.
Yeah. Well, how would I explain it? The first 2 fights back, I think I put too much pressure to go out there and it's funny, to get a finish. But then I stood up and I boxed with the guys that were boxers anyways. I tried to beat them, or I did beat them at their own game. And then this last one, I'm like, okay, go back to the drawing board, or go back to what I'm good at, not the drawing board, but go back to my base. Let's get in there. Let's do this.
Man.
Yeah, meat and potatoes.
Give me Justin Wren.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I actually felt really confident. I loved having people there, friends and family, and people that knew the story, and having a camp where I knew I had put in the time and effort and work. The first 2 fights, I would say I fought on mental toughness and heart, that fighter's blood, because that muscle memory wasn't back. But knowing that I have the reason, the purpose, the passion, coming out to the song that the pygmies are singing in the forest. That's my walkout song when I come out. And then knowing that I put in the time, the effort. I mean, as a fighter, you know, you got to have that mental edge on your opponent. And I walked into there feeling like I deserve this win not because of the cause and the story, but because I put the time in, I put the work in.
You've earned it,
and I've earned the right to get in there.
From.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's cool to see it all come together. But yeah, I think there is a lot of more pressure that I've put on myself, but it's a good thing. I feel like I thrive under that pressure sometimes whenever, get a win bonus and be able to give that win bonus. That's what we're doing moving forward.
You give your win bonus to back to the Fight for the Forgotten.
Right. That's what we're doing for now on, is like, that's
but you also have a family provide. Hey, real quick, you two simply have children pretty soon, right? Like, let's get going here. I understand the kids in Africa are important, but we need more Justin Wrens in the goddamn world. You know what I'm saying? Sorry to use
thanks.
the Lord's name.
No, you're good.
I know you're a religious guy. Don't
No,
hit me, but
you're all right, brother.
You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, man.
Yeah.
You know, I love the kids in Africa. That's great.
Yeah.
They need water. We need more Justin Little Wrens running around here.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that. We got 3 to 5 years. We're kind of putting it out there that we'll go back and look at that
5-year
because I'm
plan?
traveling. Yeah.
How old are you?
29.
All right.
So I got some time. I got some time. But
I'll never ask you your age, but let's for sure
She's
make
younger,
some little.
so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just saying, man.
No, I know. I got you. And it's
all awkward.
No, it's not awkward. No, it's good. No, but I get what you're saying because
you got to make time for yourself. Because my point to this was that you get these bonuses, you know, all the sponsor money, and I'm sending it back to Fight for the Forgotten. I'm doing this for Fight for the Forgotten. I'm like, that's cool. So, and I don't know what property's like in Oklahoma City, but it can't be too crazy. But hopefully you're taking care of yourself too.
Yeah. No, we're getting there. That's what's so great about having my agent, Kelly. She was the first woman agent in the NFL that had a first round draft pick. And so she's great, man. She was just on like a Motrin commercial for like International Women's Day or something like that. Like she's
a monster.
She's moving and shaking, and she's definitely making sure that
because until you take care of yourself, you can't take care of someone else.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's
so you better
true.
be covering your bases at home with your wife and everything there.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to see you guys eating that bullshit macaroni and cheese dinner, not the macaroni and cheese craft, but macaroni and cheese dinner, like the poor stuff. And then I get a picture from the Congo, and they're just balls deep in rotisserie chicken and water everywhere. You know, like make sure it's going good for you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we are. We're gonna make sure that's a priority too. But it's just so awesome, man. I can't tell you how fulfilling it is to know that you're putting in the time, you're putting in the effort, you know, the payoff, the reward of like feeling like a sense of accomplishment after you put in the time. But knowing that I'm putting the time in there, and that I'm going and I'm putting my energy into it and everything else, but then I'm also putting resources into it too. So just that kind of the whole balance where I'm doing this, but I'm not going to ask other people to give if I'm not giving too. Like, I believe in it so much. Like, I'm not just going to go there and do it.
Yeah.
You gotta, I mean, I'm just obsessed with it in a way that, like, I can't not be, because when I told you I got slapped upside the head with it, that was that 1.5-year-old little dude named Andy Bo that passed away, and I, held his lifeless body and buried him and dug
This
the
is last
grave.
time you were in the Congo?
No, that was my second time in the Congo, and that's what woke me up to the world's water crisis.
Please share the story.
And
for those who haven't heard it.
yeah.
I don't know if you want to talk about it.
Yeah, I can. But it's happened with little Babo, little Siku, little Mo, and Sangule and Kaptula. Like, these are all friends that I knew that have all passed away just because they didn't have clean water.
They didn't have clean water?
Just because they didn't have clean water. And so, yeah, that was what rocked me. I mean, it ripped me open, tore my heart apart with the Andy Bo. Like, I was holding him, and that's when the blood came out of his ears, and, like, he was gone. And
how old was he?
He was 1.5.
Jesus Christ.
And so
man.
every day, 800 kids die just because of diarrhea caused by, like, literally dying from diarrhea because they don't have clean water. And then on top of that, 2,350 kids every single day die just because of the malnutrition they have from the dirty water. So if you don't have clean water, you're probably not in a place with an abundance of food. But even if they did have that abundance of food, their body has,
it doesn't matter.
The malnutrition happens because they can't absorb the nutrients. It just goes right through them. Mm-hmm. So anything they eat just runs right through them. So that's over 3,000 kids a day right there. And some people say it's up to 5,000 kids a day. It's 1.5 million children under the age of 5 every single year that are completely preventable. So, like, I'm so pumped when I see people jump behind how we did the Ebola crisis, right? Everybody knew about it. Everybody acted and responded and united and came together, and, like, we were able to knock it out. But it's a tragic number. But 13,000, just over 13,000 people passed away of Ebola.
It's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people. But then if we look in a week's time, it's probably doubled by the kids under 5 years old just because of dirty water.
Well, I would say what people listening are going, it's terrible, man, but how can we help? Like, most people don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
That's the biggest challenge.
Yeah, I would say.
Because how skeptical are people when you go online, goes, donate here. It's like, okay.
Yeah, no, I agree. I would say the best thing you can do for people, and there's TED Talks out there from people, leaders in Africa, that say, we don't need any more of your help, at least the way that you are trying to help, the coming in and giving.
Money?
The charity aspects of, they need resources, but they need the resources to be used in the right way of empowering people, if that makes sense, where it's not just come in, drop stuff off. For instance, there's a new thing. So the charity model is transitioned into the social entrepreneurship model a lot of times, where it's the buy one, give one. You buy something, you feel good because someone else is going to get it.
Yeah. Buy a pair of Toms, send a pair of shoes to Africa.
So that was actually highlighted in Poverty Inc. And I don't want to villainize anyone, because I think they've tried to change up their model to where they're starting to create jobs in the country. But at first, they were robbing everyone of their jobs. When you go in with a ton of shoes and you give them all away, the people that were making shoes, they're out of business. The people that were selling them, go out of business. People that were repairing them, the cobblers, they went out of business.
Because they don't understand the way the economy works.
And so the best thing I think we can do is empower the locals, to put the solution in the hands of the people that need it the most.
But let me, and I'm playing devil's advocate here, Jade. So let's say I'm sitting at my desk and I work at Kinko's and I'm listening to this right now. I'm like, dude, I get that. I get what Justin's saying. I just want to donate money. Like, I can't leave my family and stuff. I'm not going to go to the Congo and tell them how to do life.
Well, what I would say is find an organization that, and I mean, I believe that can be ours without a doubt.
For sure, pitch your organization right now.
Yeah, but I would say like, know where that money's going and know that it's going truly to the people for a long-term solution.
Yeah.
Because if it's
not
just,
a quick fix.
If it's a Band-Aid, I'm telling you, most Band-Aid solutions in the developing world, it can look pretty at first. Maybe it's got the Flintstones on it or whatever, that Band-Aid. But underneath, man, it's just this festering wound that's starting to spread and maybe get staph, and it just creates this infection that maybe soon they have to amputate. I mean, it's brutal. And so how do you do it in a way and find those places where, honestly, what we do in our organization is we don't even take volunteers. Now we shifted that completely because we don't want it to look like when we go into a community, we're bringing the help. It's like, no, we're helping you help yourselves, if that makes sense.
So when you go with a team of, what'd you say, 14?
No, these are all people in the Congo that are born and raised there. And so they're already there. They live there. They know their community. We've only taken 2 people from Water 4 there with me. And so there's been a very small imprint of people from the West. And the reason is because, so we look for those in-country partners that are ready. I mean, we had guys that were already college educated with community development degrees, but they were in the market selling meat, or they were selling the SIM cards, or they were not doing anything. And to be able to empower them to say like, hey, you got a degree in this. This is your passion of skills, you know? And so that's another thing. So many charities send volunteers. And honestly, if we did an MMA, I've never really thought of this, but if we did an MMA analogy or just jiu-jitsu, a lot of organizations send over a bunch of white belts for like a black belt advanced level problem.
And there's black belts there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's our guys. We've been training them up for, since 2011.
How are you finding these quote unquote black belts in the community though? Because it's hard to reach them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But with my first trip was terrible. I didn't find anyone that was trustworthy because they saw me as someone from the West and they got to get whatever they can. Yeah, exactly. And so, and he'll probably never come back to help us again. So we got to get what we can get, you know, squeeze the juice out of him and get something before he leaves and never comes back. Second trip, I went and I met at a university and met these people that had gone through the college. And so it was awesome to see that they already had a heart for community development. They were already having farming initiatives out in the community. They were teaching the locals how to do it for themselves. And I'm like, that's it. That's the answer. And so I started up Fight for the Forgotten, but then I saw Water 4 doing the same thing. And it was like, man, we've trained up these guys to where geohydrologists have come in and taught them, and engineers. And our guys, now that they've drilled 62 wells, now we just got a $50,000 mechanized drilling rig. And it's not going to replace the manual drilling that we do, but it's another option. It's another solution.
Supplement to it,
absolutely. And so we can drill wells pretty fast with that. And then we can put that money. So our in-country guys are trying to secure contracts inside the country of the local communities buying wells for themselves. So just going and giving it out everywhere.
Is there resistance from the communities ever?
No, at first there was resistance.
There's a bit of a shit show down there, right? Is that fair to say?
Yeah. So a Neufeld state study said that Congo is the only country in the world that should be considered a non-state. So it's like the wild, wild west kind of thing. And the government's kind of more of a facade than anything. But on the same time, the Ituri, where I'm at, it's the largest state in Congo, and the governor is actually a great dude. And he's actually sponsored us now, gotten behind us, helped us get all our documents, our business documents in Congo. And he's even donated, I don't know how it's looking, but he's donating a well drilling truck, hopefully to us, or a truck that we can take our equipment with. It could be beat to hell, I don't know. But he's getting behind us in a way.
How Ford or Dodge doesn't just send a truck down there is beyond me, or a fleet of trucks.
Yeah. And so it's a thing where it's cool to see that at first, okay, so the government there was trying to charge us in taxes $1,500 for every water well that we would drill. And we're like, but this is the number one on your president's list of priorities. Like there's 1% of people that have access to clean water here. You have 74 million citizens. And 1% have clean water, something like that. I think it might be just over 1%. But Rwanda, a very developed nation next door, only has 5%. And so very developed in terms of the surrounding countries, not meaning in the world. Yeah. But anyways, then we went back to court. We got them down to $750, but we refused to pay. Then we went back to court again, and we got them down to $0. Now we have a relationship developed with them to where they know our hearts are truly for the people and the communities, to where now whenever we go through the security checkpoints and everything else, they just let us go right through because they know us. And
you can see how they're a little bit hesitant because I'm sure people have come in before and kind of promise all this stuff and then don't follow through.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The broken trust so much. So.
When you're in the Congo and and I said at the beginning of the show, you're a better man than me because I'd never go down there because I'm terrified of everything from mosquitoes to someone cutting my head off, and drinking water and just dying. But or African lions, crocodiles. I could go on for days.
Yeah. Black Mambas. I've had a couple of
You
runs with
name it,
them.
brother.
I can show you a scar on my right ankle afterwards.
a Black Mamba?
Not from a Black Mamba. Should have.
You have survived the Black Mamba bite?
No. I almost stepped on one, and
my
one of the pygmies hit me in the stomach, almost like the mom car seatbelt, whenever she throws on the brakes.
Yeah.
He did that right in front of me, and then the chief hit the Black Mamba in the head. I was probably 2.5, maybe 3 feet max from stepping right on it.
Are you wearing sandals at this time?
Yeah, just wearing flip flops and shorts.
Game over.
And, yeah, you would
no
have been.
fight for the forgotten.
Yeah, it would have been bad news bears. And,
when you're down there, are you terrified about certain stuff? Let's be real, Jay. Like there's a lot of danger down there. I get the water wells and everyone needs water and stuff. Yeah. But you're also a kid from America.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, well, and I got that scar on my ankle was a scorpion that hit me.
African scorpion?
Yeah. But I don't know what kind it was because it was in the moonlight at night. And I just got up out of the hut and went to take a whiz. And I kicked up some leaves and the scorpion got me. And
how bad did that hurt?
Man, it felt like I was injected with, I don't know, something really, really hot, like lava.
Hot lava?
There you go. There we go. Great minds think alike, I guess. But yeah, lava. Where, dude, it hurt so bad. But the pygmies got up in the middle of the night, ran out in the forest, and they went and made these herbs and leaves and berries. They made a paste and this like mortar. Yeah, they put it on there, and I broke out into a fever. And they put it on there, and in not that long. I also took some medicine too, but
hey, bro,
yeah,
like, well, I also took this anti-scorpion medication, but they chewed on cranberries for 2 hours and put it on my leg. All right, well, you left out you took a medication, bro.
Right. Well, it wasn't an it was just like a Tylenol or something
I still
to try
took
to help
some
with
stuff
the fever.
though, didn't you?
You're right.
That force pace really didn't do it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but I just to me it's so crazy. Like you're obviously a fearless dude, but you're talking about a different game, man. When you're in Africa, it is the wild, wild west. I get it. It's all fine and dandy building these wells and stuff, but it is the wild west. Like they don't play by the same rules as us.
Yeah,
and you stick out, sir.
Yeah, I do.
And
vanilla gorilla.
Yeah, vanilla gorilla. And there's some bad dudes down there.
Yeah,
you're right. Africa's a dangerous place, especially when you talk about North Africa. You talk about where ISIS is, and there's horrible terrorist groups out there as well, not named ISIS.
Yeah,
I forget their name subsides me right now, but there's a bad group out there, man.
There's a couple of them there. And there's one in Congo that they've been just practicing killing people, and they don't even loot or take anything. They don't steal anything. They just go through and kill people.
Practice makes perfect.
And so it's real tough, man. When I get into the forest with the pygmies, which we've got it back secured 3,000 acres of land for them that they own legally in the government's eyes. Like they'll pass it down from generation to generation. And on that land, I feel really safe and secure because we've chosen land that's 3 hours off the nearest road or an hour off the nearest quote unquote
road. Rebels around there.
Luckily, there's no gold, diamonds, coltan that have been discovered in that area.
Don't care.
Right, and so there's no reason to go out there unless you have a reason and you know that the pygmies are there or something. But there's no reason to really go out there, and so. But in the cities, bro, it's brutal. It's scary. It's like at night, whenever the sun starts setting, the streets and towns, they just disappear. It's almost like old, because people don't want to be on the road at night, dangerous. That's when rebel groups can come in and everything else. Like they literally start shutting up their doors or windows and boarding them up.
It's like
it's lockdown. It's just like scattered. Don't be on the road at night.
And they tell you not to go out at night.
Yeah. I mean, whenever we get up and drive sometimes back from a well drilling site or something, you'll see cars shot up on the side of the roads and stuff like that, like lorries that have like just bullet holes in them.
Man. And you bring your wife on some of these voyages? Probably leave her at home, huh?
Yeah, we leave her at home a lot.
Really?
Yeah. So she's been out there for 3 months. She came before I came back to fighting, man, we were thinking about moving there full time and living there.
Oh, wow.
And then we realized the best model is truly empowering the people. So if we're always there, then we could always be a crutch. And so how do we get them up on their own 2 feet? Give them that hand up and let them run wild.
You guys both had this conversation in a tent in the Congo. You're going to live there for the rest of your lives?
It was actually a hut. It was a twig and leaf hut and sleeping on the dirt.
Same shit.
We put a tarp down when Emily was there, so she's not getting muddy and stuff like that. But
and did you meet her on like one of these voyages to the Congo?
I met her right after. So right after my first trip, yeah. And man, it was great because she was there. She's my co-founder of Fight for the Forgotten and was really supportive of it and saying,
hold the brakes here, sir. Yeah. So on your first date, she's like, "Hey, what are you up to?" And you just went, Geek douche, Congo, fight for the gotten, water, this, scorpion bites, scorpion paste. This is what I'm doing. And she's like, all right, I'm down.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And I mean, she was nervous and scared and everything else, but she was the first person I could open up with and share about Andy Bo whenever I got back to the States. Like, I kept that in for a couple months.
That little boy dying.
Yeah, the little boy dying.
That stuff, I couldn't handle that, my man.
Yeah, I know. I know, but I couldn't handle it. Like, it just ripped me
Yeah,
apart. Like, it would anyone. It would would crush anyone.
Yeah, game over for me.
But
how many dates did it evolve to before you started sharing the Andy Bo story and the rest of the stories?
that was a while. That was a while in. But the first conversation we had was about the name Fight for the Forgotten. Like, I'm thinking of calling it this.
You guys were at dinner and you just were starting rattling off all these African safaris.
So
and stuff?
she was able to bear through it all, and also support it. So.
And she has a charity background, like as far as like same, like how'd this link up? Did you guys meet on freaking Christians.com or some shit? Like what? How's this working?
We actually met online. We did meet online.
There's no shame in that. You know what's
yeah.
weird? It's people. I don't mean to take this conversation but
Yeah.
people they're hesitant to say where they've met. You know, 80% of relationships start online these days.
Yeah.
But it's
smart, 'cause
There's
you
weird.
get to-
There's like this taboo that people are like,
Yeah.
oh, like there's nothing wrong with that. It's evolving into that's where most people spend most of their time is online. So clearly, you're probably the chance of you meet someone online are very, very likely.
Yeah, and so a like-minded individual that you already can kind of see their interest and everything else. Like, you kind of line up here. This would probably be a good match.
You cut through the red tape. Oh, so it's like a match. It's like a dating thing.
Yeah, it was a dating website.
That makes they work, man.
They do.
They freaking work.
Yeah, it's funny. She
And
was
so
actually
she
in my
already
first
knew.
5 matches. And then I went to the site and I went to hit message. And whenever I hit message, it said, "We're sorry, you must pay the $29.99 subscription fee."
Gotcha.
So
You're like, damn, $30. That's how you know you don't want to date a guy if you only pay the $30 to message you. I'm out. Yeah, you don't want that guy.
Yeah.
Why don't you message me? $30, a little too rich for my blood.
Yeah. So yeah, it was awesome, man. It worked. And then from there, her family started seeing the passion in me and what we were doing together, and they kind of both our families rallied around it and supported it. For a little while, there was resistance,
From your family?
from my family.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I've met your family.
Yeah.
Your family was a little bit hesitant with you going out there because it's so dangerous and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
because it's dangerous. And then all I had ever done was fought, and that was my dream, childhood dream. They knew that. They supported it. They sent me to Bishop Lynch High School in Texas, which had Kenny Monday, Kendall Cross, both Olympic gold medalists, just so that I could wrestle under them, just so that I could pursue my dream of MMA. And so they put a lot behind it. But I had family that said, hey, don't be a waste of talent. You're just walking away from fighting. This is what you do. This is your talent.
Little did they
Like,
know
don't be a
that
waste
this was
of
going to
talent.
be the light that the fire under your ass that would
Yeah.
get you back into fighting.
Yeah.
That would show you your true talents, and you have the potential to be a world champion Bellator, man.
Yeah.
And it's because of this Fight for Forgotten you found this reason to fight. Because before, let's be real, on the Ultimate Fighter, you're a bit of a lost cause. You had all this talent.
Yeah.
You got kind of screwed by the judges when you fought Roy Nelson. A lot of people thought you won that fight. If you look back at season 10, a lot of people thought you win that fight. I don't know if you're here. You win
Yeah.
that fight. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
You beat Roy Nelson. You might go on to win that bitch. You
Yeah.
and I would have been fighting in the finals. It'd been
Yeah.
weird.
It would have been
but
weird. Yeah.
but who knows if you'd have won that fight. But you were kind of, you're a bit of a party animal.
Yeah,
Let's be real.
absolutely.
You were like kind of this free spirit. You were young. You had all the skill. And then
21 at the beginning of the filming of The Ultimate Fighter, and then 22 on there when it released. And yeah, I mean, I dealt with a lot of substance abuse, and I was a depressed,
Justin liked to
drunk.
party.
I did.
Yeah.
Depressed,
Another
drunk, drug
party.
addict.
You don't know that, Justin. I do. I do.
He does.
I
and,
do.
Where I'm able to train for my fight, because I got something coming up, but then whenever you guys help me get ready for that, then I fight, win, or whatever. I'm not there for
Justin's
you guys.
out.
I'm out.
Party animal.
And that's why I had to leave. That's why it was good that I had some tough love saying you need to go get some help and fix your life before you come back to this. And no, it was really great, man. On The Ultimate Fighter, I don't know if I ever told you, but I actually snuck a bunch of Oxy in there.
Did you really?
Yeah, man. I
Thanks
was
for
using
sharing,
during
sir.
that.
I like
Yeah.
it myself. I'm not an addict, but I'd like to. I would have liked one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I would have
So
liked
it
one.
was like my backup plan. I'm going to win this thing, but if I don't,
not,
then I need to erase this memory.
Old Faithful.
Yeah,
back
Old
there,
Faithful.
yeah.
Yeah. And so just compiling that with the free booze of anything you wanted. So it was
It's trouble.
wild,
People don't
man.
realize, like on the shows, you can write down whatever you want. You know, I've never been a drinker or really into any other stuff. And you could write down Alaskan king crab, filet mignon every night, and they would bring it to you. Sometimes take a little longer to get to, but if you wrote down Jack Daniels, Smirnoff, whatever, it would be there in minutes.
Yep.
I don't know. It's so
they had it
weird.
in the garage or
Yeah, they're like,
something.
say vodka and just gadoosh. You're like, oh my, it was like a genie in a bottle.
Yeah.
If you want liquor, it was there. If you want food, it took a little longer. Wasn't that weird?
It was so
Now I
crazy.
think back and I'm like,
Hey, how about this? Both of my fight days on the Ultimate Fighter, my grocery list, everything on my grocery list was gone. The steel cut oats, the blueberries, this and that, like of my food. You know how we had our kind
Yeah.
of food? It was gone on both days.
weird.
Yeah, on the fight day. It was there before, and then on fight day it was gone.
That's so strange.
And so, but we asked for liquor, and boom, it's right there.
Oh, it's right
You
there,
know,
man.
but here's my food. It's fight day. I need this. It's gone.
Isn't it a weird? It's like the real world meets UFC.
Yeah.
It's just because they need drama. If you're just a really good fighter, it's not fun for people to watch. Like they need that kind of reality TV aspect where in our show, highest ratings ever still.
Yeah.
And it was just this chaotic world of personalities, and it was awesome, man.
Yeah, that was quite an experience. That's for sure.
Would you do it again? Because you know they did a
comeback season or something?
Let's say you're not with Bellator right now and you were fighting some local league. Would you have done a comeback series?
Yeah, for sure.
Really?
If I wasn't with Bellator, for sure. Because I'm a different person now. I feel like I'm a different person.
Mentally, 100%.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is everything for you because you
yeah.
have the skill.
Yeah, man, like you said, I really think, just throwing it out there. It's a good place to throw it out. Like, I think I'm going to be the Bellator champ. That's what I'm working towards. I got all the team around me, have the right training partners, my head's on straight, and I know what kind of fighter I can be if I put the time
Do they
in.
tell you when you're going to fight next?
It's looking like,
Would you fight in the Madison Square Garden card?
I think that there's potential, and then there's also, so either June or July I'll be back in action. So
Well,
I
the
met with
Madison
them
Square
in 2
Garden's
days
in
ago.
June. I mean,
It is.
think about how powerful a message you can make on, because you're all about, getting the fight forgotten out there.
Yeah.
Could there be a bigger case and all the companies involved in New York and your agent, Madison Square Garden,
Yeah.
pay-per-view, Fedor, Mitrione,
Be awesome, man.
Bader, Phil Davis. You got Chael Sonnen and Wanderlei.
Yeah. So I was meeting with them on Tuesday, and
Meeting with Bellator?
with Rich, yeah, up in San Jose. Man, they're so great. Getting to even know Rich better, like
Great
hanging
guy.
out just 2 hours, and we didn't even really talk that much business. We just got to know each
You
other.
didn't talk about any matchups
And,
or anything.
We talked a very minimal at the very end, but no matchups were mentioned. But it was just in June. There's obviously the MSG card, which would be incredible to be on, and then July 14th or so, they're supposed to be coming back to Oklahoma, and so that's my Dallas friends and family could come up to that.
I
OKC
get that.
people
I'm
could
just
come
talking
down.
about fight for the God. Madison
Oh, I
Square
know.
Garden, son.
I know, man.
And
Absolutely.
I don't think Czech Congo has a date either.
Ooh, there we go. You're talking.
Is that
now.
too much?
No, it's not too much.
I feel like it's a
not
good
too
matchup
much.
for you.
Yeah, I feel like it's
I
a
really
good matchup too. Now he's a great guy. I think he's and how about that Congo for Congo or something?
Oh my God, mind blown. Czech Congo, you're whooping ass to feed the Congo.
Right. I think his mom's Congolese or something like that.
Yeah,
His mom
damn
or
right
dad.
she is. You're damn right. Yeah. That's
So,
crazy.
maybe down the line.
Maybe he doesn't even want to fight you because of it. Because I feel like if we're going to fight, I'm like, I don't want to fight this guy and win. Like, no one's rooting against you. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe just Russians if you fought Fedor. Other than that, everyone's on your team. Even some Russians are like, I guess. Like, no one wants to see you lose, man. Like, you have so much support behind you because what you're doing. And I know you feel that, man. That
Man, it
means the
feels-
world to fighters.
Going into this last fight, I felt it so much, and I really think it pulled a better fighter out of me, which was great because it was the third fight on the contract of Bellator, and it just was like
You
that's
looked your
who I need
best
to be.
too.
Yeah.
And when I watched, I'm like, that's Justin Wren, man. Grappling, that guy wanted out, man. You're breaking him. That's what you do. You break guys with your wrestling. You take him for a ride. Then when it goes to the ground, I think people are surprised, and I'm sure now. Last time we rolled was years ago, but training with Lovato Jr., I'm even sure now your jiu-jitsu's even better.
Yeah, it's grown so much. So, and excited to continue to build. What I love about training with Rafael, and then also he's got an incredible strength coach, Lucius Tyree from Green Strength. Man, it's all about it being a lifestyle. And I think before the 5 year, 2 years off, and then my beginning of the career being just young and dumb, I would just end it having the addictions and everything else to battle through. But I would just, it does make it tough. But I would be in the, Very true.
Yeah.
I would just be in that mindset of a program or fight camp. That's whenever you
Get serious.
Yeah, that's when you get serious. That's when you get in shape. It's like, no, it needs to be a lifestyle. You need to be constantly ready.
I think it's good
And I
you
think
learn
I'm
though
doing
when
that.
you're that young. It's kind of like you're 21, man, the Ultimate Fighter. Like you really don't know. Even I was 26 or 25. I did some stupid stuff too, man.
Yeah.
But you learn from that, makes you who you are today, and also it helps you so much because you know what not to do. You know those mistakes now, and now you're on this this run now where you literally could be the world champion, man.
Yeah.
And that's what most people thought you were going to do, right? Like your family, everyone in Oklahoma, everyone at Grudge, Trevor, all of us were like, yeah, Justin has skills to be world champion.
Yeah. Well, thanks, bro.
You're on that path, brother. I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you, man.
I get goosebumps talking about it because I
appreciate
really
you.
think you can do it, man.
I think I can.
Did you
too,
fight
man.
Mitrione?
Well, he actually, it was a very strategic call out, I think, or just being kind on Twitter.
You can't call out Justin Wren and get points. I don't know how you go about it. It's a lose-lose.
Right, and I love
Oh,
that.
you're going to save some water? Forget that guy. June 7th. Like, all right, well.
Right. Well, he said like, "Oh man, so proud of you. You look great tonight. Great performance. I'm proud to call you friend. I'd even be prouder to call you opponent or something like that."
Oh, that's smart.
And
Matt's a smart guy.
He's a smart guy. He's witty. He's an intelligent dude. So I can see that coming down the line as well.
How do you break down the Fedor Mitrione fight?
Oh,
Before we
man,
chat,
that's-
I got to get some of this on you.
What's that?
I got to have you break down some of these fights.
Man,
Fedor Mitrione.
I'm pumped to see that. I'm a Fedor fanboy.
Everyone
through and
is.
through. Yeah, been that way since I was
Me too, man.
13.
It's
I think.
Fedor Krokop.
So,
Fedor Krokop.
Yeah, and so which you got to fight Krokop. Maybe one day I'll get to fight.
I know.
Fedor.
Wouldn't that be cool, man?
Yeah, it'd be so awesome. And so I think it's a really interesting matchup. I think Fedor of 4 or 5 years ago, 5-6 years ago, that would be
Pound for pound best of all time.
Absolutely.
Some of them. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
for
tough
sure.
fight for Matt.
Yeah.
Now,
it's.
if you look at his
very
last fight,
even playing
Maldonado, Maldonado?
Maldonado,
Maldonado?
Fabio Maldonado.
There you
He looked
go, Fabio.
terrible in that fight.
Yeah, and he could have been called a
Yeah,
couple times.
yeah.
So, and Matt's got that power. He's got that reach. He's got that awkward style.
quick.
He's southpaw, right?
Southpaw.
And so, yeah,
do
he can definitely put Fedor away. So it's interesting. It's really interesting. I'm excited to watch that fight. If I was watching it backstage after I fought, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Be around those guys. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking it's a very strategic move by Bellator because that's a big fight where it's
I think
like it's back and forth. If Fedor shows up the way that he's performed in the
got something.
past, then man, it's going to be dominant. But Matt can put him away. And
But think what else you can do here with Fedor if he were to win, which is a big if. I think he has his work cut out for him.
Definitely has
My
work
money
cut
would
out.
probably be on Matt, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I
but
think
with
mine as
Fedor,
well.
you can have Wanderlei Silva rematch. You could have Chael Sonnen at a gangster weight. There's a
man.
bunch of stuff you could do with him.
yeah, absolutely. So it's good. And I felt real bad for Matt with all those kidney stones. Am I right? Whenever it came out that it was eventually like 20 or something like that.
It was bad, and they called it 3 hours before. He still wanted to fight with
Yeah.
it. The commission was like, no, we
I
can't.
think
let you
I
fight.
heard at the Bellator crew like a couple days ago. I don't know who was saying it, but I think he had passed 1 or 2
Yeah.
the week of the fight.
Yep.
He's like, I'm going to be able to do it. And then they found out the day of the fight that he had something like 15 left. Or
Yeah,
something
in fighter
crazy.
interviews, they said he came in and he just did not look well. And he's like, he walks in and he's like, well, everyone, I'm dealing with kidney stones. So that's fun on top of fighting Fedor. But he's still down to do it. And Matt got a lot of heat on the internet and social
Yeah.
media. Like, oh, you're just scared. And it's like, you idiot.
Yeah.
If you've ever had
If you-
kidney stones or if you know Matt.
Yeah, or if you knew Matt. Yeah,
Yeah, if you knew
Did
Matt.
you see what happened with him in the Stefan Struve fight whenever they were backstage and they were warming up and like literally Matt is hitting mitts. He's all taped up. He's
Ready to
gloved
go.
up. I mean, the commission has signed off on his gloves. He's ready to go and Dana comes back there and tells him that the fight's off. He's like, no effing way. No way. Don't tell me that.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden he turned around and goes, yeah, it's something with his heart or fainted or
his
something
heart,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah. And so Matt just instantly, it was like something changed. Like he couldn't believe the fight was over, but then he stepped out of that situation. He walked down to Stefan's locker room and gave him a big hug. Stefan Struve was just crying,
a bummer, man.
just crying. I don't think fans, especially the ones that are just keyboard warriors on the internet, they don't see what goes on behind stage.
Oh, dude. You go through this journey
backstage.
together, man.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like even when you fight the guy and he might have knocked you out or you're both just beat up, you go through this special, unique experience together. It's so stressful, and you're the only two. That's the only other guy who can relate to that, going through that kind of trauma, really. And it's so intense, man. And win, lose, or draw, it's way better when you win, but win, lose, or draw, you're just relieved that it's over. It's literally like, oh my, there's so much pressure and so much weight on top of you, and it's everything. When it's done, you can finally just breathe. Win, lose, or draw.
Yeah. And so when that happened, and they called the fight, I actually didn't know it. I went over and I was with some of the Eco Survivor crew watching the fights, and then I saw that the fight was canceled, or no, the fight's come on, and that's how they started the broadcast on Spike, that the fight was off. And I was like, what? No way. And I instantly flashed back to that moment where Matt had compassion towards Stefan.
Thank God he did too, because let's say he freaked out, it would have been a real bad look.
Oh yeah.
It would have been a real bad look. Like,
Right.
what are you talking about, man?
So then the internet blew up all talking trash about Matt, and I'm just like, man, no.
No, they don't understand.
He would have went through that.
They don't understand,
He would,
man.
if it was at all possible for him to get in that cage, he would have.
No one, Matt. Before we get you out of here, brother, tell our listeners how we can support you, what we can do to actually make a difference, man, and the companies behind you, and how just overall how we can support, man.
Yeah. Well, this is cool. This product here, these lanterns, it's the first product of Eco Survivor. I mean, they're partnered with Real Tree, I think, and some other things. But for the outdoorsman or adventurer, these things, 50% of the profits from Eco Survivor brand, we're going to have headlamps, flashlights, battery packs, Bluetooth speakers that are battery packs, and then walkie-talkies, which is actually going to provide safety to our team out in the forest and everything. And if we forget a tool, you can walkie-talkie back to people. But yeah, so that one will go for 200 hours on those 4 batteries. This one will go for 350. But what's pretty cool about it is we're developing to where they stand up to the elements. Like this one is basically water and impact resistant. The other ones are going to be like waterproof. But if you take out 3, let's say you're in Africa or Congo, and you can only find 3 or 3 go out on you, you can take out 3 and you can put them back in. And then on 3 batteries, this thing will last. I put it in wrong.
You got this.
Put it in wrong. Let's do it right. But it will go for 350.
It still lights up. You show me. You know, I could probably do it on this.
Still
one.
lights
Can
up.
I take 2 out of this one?
That one doesn't do that.
All
This
right,
one
you know
does.
what?
But
I see what you're saying, though.
I think I jammed it in there too
Yeah,
hard.
I think I. Oh, no, there we go.
But anyways, what's really cool about them? Another thing is here. I mean, I know
You
this
want me to
won't
try
be
that
on camera.
one? Or you got
You
this?
try that one.
Yeah, let me try
There you
this,
go.
man. I think
You put it on. I think I broke it. No, I'm just kidding. I can't break it. But what's cool is I can like stand on these things. I've been doing all these impact tests, and I can stand on them and they don't break, anything like that.
There we go.
There you go.
That's half the batteries.
I just
in there,
needed
too.
you. You just needed someone smarter
You just
than
need
me
a
to put it in
soft
there.
touch, man.
Yeah,
You got those
absolutely.
Congo hands now.
But yeah, off 3 batteries, it can power for 250 hours.
That's pretty cool. And that's
our
a big
guys-
deal to them, so they can work at night.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's got these LED lanterns that we can actually. So if we had a collapsing zone, when we hit a collapsing zone, you got to work through the night. But whenever we have these little crappy flashlights or lanterns, sometimes these are vibration proof too, to where like in the car on these terrible roads, it can take the shaking and everything else. And so, but then these guys can put it up on our tripod when they're drilling the wells through that carabiner, and they're able to work through the night. So our guys in Congo right now are testing this, have had 4 or 5 of them for a long time. They've been putting them through all the elements. It's been really cool to see it stand up strong. I've been a part of the design and testing and endorsing
Cool, man. You
stage.
should be, because you've been there and you know what they need.
Yeah, and so I'm able to sit down with the design team, and so it's cool to see the whole brand. They have 40 employees for Eco Survivor, something, I think it's 40. But Jasco is the one that's behind them. They license out deals and make products for General Electric, Energizer, Philips, so like some big brands out there, and they're in Lowe's, Home Depot. We're hoping to get these in REI or Bass Pro Shop.
So right now, people can't get these?
They can get them on ecosurvivor.com.
Boom.
And that right there, 50% of the proceeds goes straight to our water wells.
That's huge, man.
And then we have, a World Water Day campaign going on right now through the end of the month. I put that up on my social media. And man, we're trying to raise $50,000.
Bring up his social media for me, Chin.
Yeah. And so it's,
you posted something that is I think you said something about being grateful. Showed a little boy drinking from just this dirty water, right?
oh yeah, absolutely, man. And,
And his all his handles are at it's the big pygmy,
at the
right?
Big Pygmy, yeah.
Yeah,
And
there it is.
fightfortheforgotten.org is our website, and there we're looking to try to build a team of monthly supporters that are given, because $25 a month will change the lives of 15 people for the rest of their lives.
Jeez,
if you do that through the year. So a year year commitment of $25 a month. 15 people get clean water. And since we train the locals to be able to go out and repair the wells, we know that they're always going to be in constant contact. They're empowered to fix the wells and everything else.
And $25 a month, you go to Fight for the Forgotten to set that up?
fightfortheforgotten.org.
I'm on it, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you so much, man. So that's another thing. And then our World Water Day campaign. Someone yesterday, man, gave $25,000 to the campaign. We're trying to raise $50,000, and someone else did $2,000, and we already had raised $5,000, so we're at $32,000, and we're running that through March.
I'll help with that as well.
Dude, if we could hit that 50, it's going to put up a water tower in Rwanda.
When do you need the $50,000 by?
By March 31st. And so, yeah, it's a crowdfunding
get
campaign.
working,
it's on water4.org.
What is it?
And so water4.org. And so it's our World Water Day campaign. So I'll post it on my social media as well at the Big Pygmy.
Yep.
So
love it, man.
Dude, you're awesome.
Dude, you're awesome.
I appreciate you so much.
I appreciate you, man.
This is
You're
so
fighting
cool.
the good fight, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It's so cool, the MMA community, man. They've rallied around us, made this possible, from being on shows like this, Joe Show.
Yeah, it's just about getting the word out. And I really think it's just, you get the word out, man, in companies, they want to help. They just, I think people don't know where to start.
Yeah.
And I think you're one of the guys that can change us, man. You're fighting the good fight. You're fighting for a bigger reason than yourself. And I truly believe that, man. I get emotional talking about it. I think you're going to be a world champ, brother. I do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
so,
you.
boom, at the Big Pygmy, Water4, so WATER4.org. And you guys can contribute and donate to this beautiful freaking cause, man. And it really makes a difference. Justin Wren, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, brother.
Appreciate you guys so much for listening.
Well, that's it, man. This was a fun one. I had a lot of shit on my mind. That's what happens when I'm on the road and I'm seeing all these comments and questions and analysts and experts weigh in on this Chris Weidman stuff, and I get upset, man. I hold it in. I wait. I don't tweet a lot about this stuff because I want you guys to hear it from the horse's mouth on the Big Round Breakdown. So I appreciate you guys listening. And man, show's never been bigger. You know, the TJ Dillashaw episode. Is that the last one we did?
The last one we did, yeah.
Shit, that was TJ.
That
TJ. Bad boy is over 1 million downloads.
Over 1 million.
Fucking life is crazy, man.
It's crazy.
Life is great. Life is crazy. All is good in Schaub world and the Big Brown Breakdown. I love doing them. I know I get passionate and I just talk, man. And hope you guys dig it. Appears so. That last one's at 1 million. I can't thank you guys enough. The show just keeps on keeping on. If you dig this, you dig comedy, you dig just having fun in general. A lot of people ask me what the Big Brown Breakdown lives are. It's a mix of my stand-up along with the MMA events where I mix comedy and that with those, and then I break down the big card coming up. So that's what they are. It's a great time. I am at the Ice House again on May 3rd. That's in Pasadena. And then I am May 4th at the Hard Rock Hotel in Las Vegas. And those will both be a mixture of what I just told you, mixed with the breakdown of UFC 211 and Canelo Chavez Jr., but mainly UFC 211. So, yeah, go get tickets right now, tfatk.com. Both those are almost sold out. And then it's sold out, so I don't mention it, but La Jolla, the Comedy Store, that bitch is sold out a while ago. I will see you guys on April 27th. I'm looking forward to that. Other than that, man, bigger, browner, better. I love you guys. Thanks for listening. I'm Brendan Schaub. I'm out. Love it, man.
It's the only time it's ever given me any sort of problem.
Oh, I got it, though. I think it was stuck. Yeah, I was like, oh my God. You're like, in this thing, and this
I know, you're pretty
fucking...
rough with it. I was like,
Use all.
Don't do this right now.
You're like, you know what? You get the idea, though.